your hosts, John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
And a happy Friday morning to everybody out there across the Delaware Valley. I'm Connor Thomas in for Andrew Salciunas. To my left, John Kincade. And we've got ourselves a big day on Monday.
What?
We know that June 1st.
Are you previewing Monday already?
Well, I think everybody at this point, if there's a big story in Philadelphia sports, Johnny, it is going to be what in the world happens with A.J. Brown. I feel like it's just the night before the first day of school, the show before the show. So we've got some great stuff for you today. We will touch on the A.J. Brown conversation.
We'll touch on it.
But,
right.
Of course, Monday is going to be largely a conversation about number 11, the potential return, the potential trade place where he ends up. If there's a new team in the mix, there's been a lot of information and misinformation, and that's something that will reach a fever pitch, I imagine, over the weekend as we continue to get reports on that.
And you are on the record as saying you believe we will or will not know Monday morning.
I don't think we'll get the news Monday.
I believe that Monday morning we will know. That the reports will be there that the trade, it may not be formalized, but it'll be, the reports will be, this is the trade. That is where I'm at.
Whether we know
I can't
Monday.
wait. It's going to be a lot of speculation. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I loved your idea today, though. And Connor was like, let's not talk out Monday today.
Yes.
And I love that idea.
But I did have a thought on Monday that led me to where we're going to go today. We've been doing a lot of looking forward recently. What's next for the Sixers and Flyers there in their offseason? What is going to happen with the Eagles this year? Not just A.J. Brown related, but with a huge season on tap. What's going to happen the rest of the way for the Phillies? And on top of all of that, with a huge summer in Philadelphia from a not just national sports perspective, from a world sports perspective, there are a lot of things that you should want to see. Not just our teams, but you got the All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby, the World Cup, and all kinds of other events. So the idea of what you want to see stuck in my mind last night when I was going through ideas of where we want to head on today's show.
And we're the center of the universe this summer.
We are.
Honestly, we are the epicenter, being the semi-quincentennial, which a lot of the local news people have not been able to figure out yet.
We'll get there.
It's the semi-quincentennial. And, so we're the center of the universe. Everybody's going to be talking about Philly all summer long.
It's wide-reaching. So this is a wide-reaching topic. It's going to engage all four teams, and we'd love to hear from you on it. It's a simple question with a billion different potential answers. If you could pick one thing to see in Philadelphia sports this summer, what would it be and why? This could be an accomplishment of a team. I want to see the Phillies catch the Braves in the NL East by the time this summer is over so that when we get to September, we're looking at a division race. It could be something with one of the teams in the offseason that is either rebuilding like the Sixers or continuing a lengthy rebuild in the Flyers, a transaction. It could be something that you want to see A.J. Brown related or with the development of Sean Mannion's offense for the Eagles, or maybe just something that they say that makes you feel a lot more confident about the season upcoming. So it can involve all four different
So what are you,
teams.
Santa Claus this morning?
I can't guarantee that any of these will happen.
So nothing is guaranteed.
But you can ask.
Let's make sure we do not get any kind of lawsuits on this. Connor is not guaranteeing that any of these things can be granted. I know mine, and I think mine would shock you.
You know what's funny? I had no idea when I was writing down this topic. Sometimes, we've been working together for a long time, Johnny.
We have been.
Normally, I know where you're going to go. I don't know where you're going on this, and that's why it's such an intriguing question, because I don't know where anybody's going to go. One parameter, if, for example, like let's say your number one thing you want to see is the Sixers trade the contract of Joel Embiid. You get out from under that. Yes, that's valid, but it can't be Sixers trade Embiid for Wembanyama. All right. So, some semblance of realism has to be held in this conversation. With that being said, Johnny, what is yours?
I'm actually slightly disappointed because the example you just gave is what would make me the happiest. Because I don't care if the Phillies catch the Braves.
Okay.
Because I've seen the Phillies be a wild card team, sneak into the playoffs, be a 4 seed, be a 6 seed, a 6 seed go to the World Series Game 6, a 4 seed go to the NLCS Game 7. I don't care if they win the division. I don't care if they catch the Braves. Let the Braves win 105 games. I don't care. I know that when October comes, if I've got Sanchez and Wheeler and Duran pitching well, I got a shot. So I'm good with that. The only franchise in town to me that has no path is the Sixers. The only way that path can begin to be cleared is if one of the major obstacles is cleared. I think Paul George is more tradable. So if Joel Embiid's contract was able to be traded, that would be my move. That would be the thing that I would want.
And I completely understand what you're saying there. I am on your side with that. Now,
why do I think there's a but coming?
Because I'd imagine there are some folks out there, and we're not talking about the Embiid defenders that are like, oh, keep him here. You can only win with him.
Oh, boy.
But I imagine
you mean the Ray Dunn cult?
This is not them. I would imagine, though, there are some people that look at the contract situation, have been reading what they've read and hearing what they've heard from national voices in the NBA saying you can't move that contract, and say, well, yeah, I could make that my number one thing I want to see, but maybe I want to go with something that's a higher probability to actually happen.
Okay, give me one.
That's why, for me, it's also Sixers, but mine would be Paul George. Moving off the Paul George contract seems like something that is slightly more probable.
Well, it's more probable. Like, more people in the NBA would say it's a viable thing to make Paul George work than to make Joel Embiid work.
Yes.
So there's no question there, especially with what you saw when Paul George came back from his mystery suspension, that he never explained to you because he couldn't take the time to tell the truth. That's one that I would really enjoy. Yeah, I mean, that'd be one. Look, it would push the ball in the right direction, what you're saying. But if I'm wishing for the home run swing.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm wishing for the Embiid swing. But I understand where you're at. Is either one puts me in a better position as I head to next September. If both of them are on the roster next September, folks, there is no hope. There's no hope.
There might be 1%.
No, there's hope.
But that's not nearly enough.
No, there's hope of being potentially entertained watching some regular season basketball.
Yeah, first round series.
But
maybe,
there's no hope of saying you're going to contend for anything. What you're hoping for is you want to see my future. I can see some of the future starting to unfold in front of me. And until Joel Embiid is gone, that future is not there. There's no future for the 76ers till he's off the books.
It's also a lovely summer Friday. And that may have people in a positive mindset. We're talking about what I would call negative transactions. Hey, we got to get rid of these players.
Sure.
You just did a great event at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton last night.
It was
with John
fun.
Marks and Bill Colarulo. There may be Bill Colarulos out there today that say the number one thing I want to see is the Flyers go make a big splash. Bring me Austin Matthews. Did you curtail that, by the way?
No, we did do. Yeah, I did. And I think by the end of the conversation, last night we had it on air. And I think by the end of the conversation, John Marks would have to support this later. I think Bill, from his eye contact and everything, understood what I was saying. Mm-hmm. That was a Mr. Snyder move. That was an old Flyers move. But he brought up something that I said, no, don't stop dreaming about that one. If by chance the Edmonton Oilers said that Connor McDavid was available, I would empty the freaking coffers to get Connor McDavid. I would do anything in the world to get Connor McDavid if I was the Flyers. Now that I would. I'd be picking up like 3.5 seasons, I believe, in age. No injury history.
Yep.
And when you hear people say, yeah, but his playoffs, he hasn't been the same guy in the playoffs. Yeah, either was Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner wasn't in Toronto either, and they told you in Toronto he sucked. He's not a playoff guy. He goes to Vegas, and he's the leader of their team, leading them to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Also, let's understand what, quote-unquote, not a playoff guy means for Connor McDavid. Multiple Cup appearances.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes,
like Cup final appearances.
I would absolutely I'm telling you this, I would offer him a bagster to help. I would get a bagster to help him get rid of any junk he has before the move. And if he needed help packing, I'd be glad to help make boxes. I'm very good at making those boxes. I would do whatever it took. Now, when he heard me support the Connor McDavid talk, if that came about, Connor McDavid said, you know what? It's probably best that I get out of the one-horse town that's Edmonton. The only worst town in the NHL would be if you were stuck in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I hear the
and
winters are nice up there.
Oh, Edmonton's just terrible. but Winnipeg's the worst. Winnipeg is absolutely awful. So if he said he wanted out, I would tell Danny Briere to do anything. And I mean anything.
See, there may be Flyers fans that feel that way today, and I'm more of the, hey, just
stay the course?
Yeah, stay the course.
Well,
Patience,
that's fine because things have looked good, right?
Yes, they have. We're going to have a conversation later on in the show about fan engagement and fan focus when it comes to mainly those two teams that we were just talking about, these Sixers and the Flyers. But let's get the ball going a little bit. Let's grease the wheels even further here because this is an all four teams, a 4-for-4 Friday, as Andrew Salciunas would call it if he was sitting here in this seat today. He's got the day off today and Monday off.
Enjoying a little time with the family.
Yes.
Great.
So we got you covered. Let's talk Eagles for a second here.
Sure.
If there was one thing with the Eagles, is there anyone in the fan base that has a different answer than something A.J. Brown related? Or is that just the number one focus of this team till that's done?
I think there are people that would answer on the text line or on the voice text or whatever that would say, don't trade A.J. Brown.
Ooh. Interesting.
I believe that would be the answer. I met a few last night at over at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, which, by the way, is just such a spectacular venue. It was absolutely awesome, and thanks to people at Chickies for hosting us last night, and to Bet Parks for being our hosts. I think there are people, and I talked to a couple last night, and by the way, they made very compelling cases. They're believing that the Eagles are not going to get a first-round pick. They're believing those reports.
Yeah.
I am not believing those reports. So they're believing those reports. I could be wrong. But they said if you're not going to get a first-round pick, they would not trade him. And I understand that if someone says, don't trade him, if you're not getting a first-round pick, don't trade him. I understand somebody's sentiments about that big time.
We'll see if we hear from those people on the Davis Honda text line today. 610-632-0975 is the phone number. You can call in, text in, voice memo, everything. The YouTube is up and running. So we got a lot of ways for you to jump in the conversation. If I didn't get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown, I'd be hesitant to move him. So
would you agree with those people then? You would say let's hold on to him and wait for a training camp injury or something.
Yeah, listen, I think there'd be more opportunity. It'd be a little uncomfortable. We'd have to continue to have the conversation.
I would not rush to trade him.
No. And Howie's not a low-value guy.
No.
He's not. He doesn't just offload to offload. And this is not one of those situations that has become so untenable where it needs to be June 1st, what is it, 12:01 p.m. or a.m.?
A.m.
I always mess that up
a.m.
with the 12s. The first minute of the day, he's gone. I don't know. We'll see. And we've gotten some conflicting reports on that. I'm sure we'll hear more about it throughout the day.
Adam's golf trip makes me think, though, that it's going to go down quickly. But we'll see.
We will see a lot. We're putting a lot on an Adam Schefter golf trip.
Well, I'm looking forward. Maybe it's just I'm all golfed up today.
We have the information we have. And then let's talk a little bit about the Fightins as well, because there are plenty of people who I saw some really interesting after the series in San Diego. It was perfect. It was great timing, right? This huge stretch of games.
Like a wake you up type of thing?
A lot of folks that this is the time of year where baseball is really the only game in town. We got a Game 7 in the NBA out west that we'll talk about. The Stanley Cup Finals are just about set in the NHL. But baseball is going to take center stage here in the next couple weeks. And with that, it was a time where people turned their attention, more so than I think we saw in the past month and a half or so with the Phillies. And what they saw was a 3-game sweep. They saw history from Christopher Sanchez. And I saw a lot of social media commentary of this team's got me back in. People are starting to, and I don't think it's a majority of the people who are out. I think it's going to take more than just 3 games. Sure. But there may be people that hear this question today and they say, hey, I just bought back in on the Phils after that series in San Diego. I'm excited for the matchup with the Dodgers. The number one thing I want to see, I don't care about these teams that aren't playing right now. We'll get there when we get there. I care about the team that we have currently in their season having as much success as possible. So we'll see if we have any Phillies number one wants on the phone line and text line today as well. But speaking of the Phillies, let's take a look at this Dodgers series tonight. You were very confident, Johnny, heading into this West Coast swing.
Mainly because I've seen them, and you doing the Locked On Phillies podcast, you've had to stay up and you have to stay up on these West Coast trips. I try to lay on the couch and stay up as long as I can and watch. The Phillies just tend to play well at Chavez Ravine. And I got buddies out there in L.A. who go to the games who are Dodger fans. And so I will always, sort of be texting with them, and they're at the game, and they'll be going back and forth about the Phils. I just like the way the Phillies play on the West Coast. I sort of like it.
I do too.
They always sort of show up.
Yeah.
They tend to play their best ball.
Unless it's Arizona.
And after last week, I really thought they were going to answer the bell. That this team is far better than they have shown us.
They are.
And I keep waiting for that bell to ring.
Well, so far you've been right. They won their first 3 out in the California
So now they
swing.
only got to go 3-3 the rest of the way in the next 6 games, because the 3 they play with San Diego. It was the 9-game. It was the San Diego sandwich with the Dodgers in the middle. And I thought they would go 6-3 in that stretch. I did not think they'd sweep San Diego.
No, I didn't either. And I only needed to see them win 5 of the 9 games. Just go above 500 on this stretch.
And you'd be happy with it.
So
Sure.
That opens up a very interesting question. We have a big stretch within the 9-game stretch. How much does this Dodgers series, just in and of itself, take either San Diego one on either side? The pieces of bread are gone. We're just getting to the meat in the middle of the sandwich. How much does this Dodgers series matter on top of the stretch? Like, if they were to win 2 out of 3 against the Padres when they come back here, but in between those 2 series victories was like a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Dodgers. How do you evaluate?
Like the Dodgers sweep them?
Yes.
I'd be still fine, because I've seen them. I've seen this Phillies team. I see them play the Dodgers tough. I've seen them play other teams tough. They just, in the regular season, I sort of know what the Phillies are, and they tend to play good teams pretty well. And I'm a believer. I'm still very much a believer that this club is going to be playing in October. And they're going to be there. And I really don't care how they punch their ticket to get there, especially with what I've seen with the top of the rotation hosses. So I don't care. But I'm going to be lying to you through my teeth if I'm not saying that they go and take 2 out of 3 at Chavez Ravine after sweeping the Padres. And then if they came home and played the Padres well on top of that, then I'm not thinking, okay, that's giving me the window of opportunity to say exactly what I thought last fall. They should have beaten the Dodgers in that series. They were right there. They should have beaten the Dodgers, and they didn't. That I would be thinking to myself, if they get another chance this year, they can do it.
I think you're right, but I know that a majority of Phillies fans are going to think you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And here's why. Because
what's different than that on a normal day? Let's be honest about it.
It's kind of the job description for us at Sports Talk Radio. But
that's the truth.
People are going to immediately equate this series in late May to the NLDS that we just watched last October.
Okay. And the Phillies were, I think the Phillies were the better team and blew it. I think they blew it. I think they blew the NLDS.
Those are 2 separate statements to me. I don't think they were the better team. I think they had every opportunity to win that series.
Well, the thing is they were right there. They should have won that series. I think Joe Smith in the Broomall Little League at Paul Judge Field could have managed a better series than their manager did. And I know from my couch that I could have. And I at least, simply just with basic understanding of baseball, would have had the Phillies in a Game 5 at home.
Well, now they have Magic Mattingly, so we don't have to worry
about that. I mean, look. I'm not. The love is. It's not wearing off, but I am calling them on things this week. So
honeymoon phase might be getting close to over. But I know people are going to watch this Dodgers series, and if the Phillies don't have success out there in L.A., regardless of what they do against the Padres, this is the ultimate, what October could look like series, right or wrong. And I think taking 3 games in May and evaluating it for 4 months later is crazy.
So you're thinking that there's potential for more negativity on this series depending on what goes on than there is positivity.
Absolutely. And you seem like you're thinking the opposite way.
I am. But that's interesting because you could easily convince me by the end of the show of your way of thinking, considering how negative the fan base is at times on the Phillies.
And to a lot of extents, I don't blame
I'm very
them.
positive. Yeah, look, no, I can't. I wish I could blame them.
Yeah. It'd be easier if it was just like, they
No,
won.
I wish
the Eagles conversation is so much easier to have. Hey, they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
I wish I could blame them, but I can't. I can't. So I have to understand. I have to understand more of where it comes from.
So a lot going on here on this Friday. We're not mailing it in because Salciunas isn't here.
No,
he gets the day off.
He's mailing it in.
We're working. What's the number one thing you want to see in Philadelphia sports this summer? A transaction, an accomplishment, and what a team is doing in current play. We open that up to you. Coming up next.
I already have a soccer text from one of my buddies.
A soccer text. I love it.
I'm so embarrassed for him.
Listen, World Cup, center of the universe.
I'm so embarrassed for him.
You said it, Johnny.
I'm embarrassed for him.
Now, this might be a scary conversation, or it might be a reassuring one. How much danger are the Eagles really in? Sometimes a worst-case scenario can actually make you feel better. We'll see if our evaluation does next on the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas in for Andrew Salciunas, John Kincade to my left, Sean Rodman on the board, and we're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A potentially salary cap in the MLB. I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association. The owners proposing a salary floor near $171 million. 15 teams this season are currently under the proposed floor, and the salary cap is set for over $245 million in the proposed deal. 6 teams of their 2026 salaries are above the proposed cap, including the Phillies by $36 million. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on why the MLB wants a new cap system.
They say this is about competitive balance. Should we look at who's in first place right now? The Rays, big spenders. Guardians, they're big spenders. The Brewers, they're often confused with the Dodgers. Does that seem like a competitive balance problem?
Jason Stark showing a little bit of sarcasm there, but the last time the owners wanted a salary cap was 1994. The players went on strike, and the 94 World Series was canceled. The Phillies, they're back in action today after the day off. Phillies take on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. Zach Wheeler gets a start for the Phils. First pitch is at 10:15 on Apple TV. This update is brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. You think a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt is the worst that could happen until you crash. Click it or ticket, paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and The Fanatic.
and the Fanatic app.
This hour of Kincade Salciunas is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
What is the number one thing that you want to see this summer here in Philadelphia
I want to see
sports?
that Nate Bargatze movie.
Hey, that's good too.
I've seen him in comedy concert a few times, and he's awesome. So that's a movie. I never want to go to the movies.
No,
that's one of the movies. That's one I'll go see.
Listen, that's the beautiful thing about the start of summers. You just think about all the stuff that you want to do. And, of course, being a sports talk radio station, we are focused in on the sports portion of it. In Philadelphia, Johnny, you called it the center of the sports world.
We are.
This summer?
During
absolutely.
During what?
The semi-quincentennial.
Very good, Connor.
I didn't know there would be a quiz today.
That's why I would pick Connor above any member of our staff for if we had Jeopardy. Connor would be our representative on the Fanatic if he had Jeopardy.
I'm happy to accept that responsibility.
What's
Now,
that little weasel who hosts it?
Ken Jennings.
Ken Jennings. Yeah, I'd say pick Connor.
Now, the center of the sports world,
yes,
the center of the Philadelphia sports world is always the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's January or if it's June.
No, it does not.
And we've been talking a lot of birds this week. Now, as we mentioned in the start of the show, in case you missed the open, obviously the A.J. Brown story, the biggest thing going on with them right now. June 1st is Monday. We are going to have a lot breaking that down on Monday.
And
you
we'll suggested that today we not do a lot of A.J. Brown.
I mean, there's so much that we've known forever.
Right.
And there's so much that we don't know that we haven't learned at this point. That the conversation, once we get to the day of Monday, we'll have a lot to break down.
I love it.
But wanted to open this up to a little bit more thought process on the birds. And there will be.
I love it.
If A.J. Brown is traded on Monday or Tuesday, whenever that happens, and we expect that to happen, there will be life for the Philadelphia Eagles after that. Saquon Barkley had an interesting comment during OTAs where he was just like, yeah, the show goes on. Even if Jalen's not here, if I'm not here, if AJ's not here, this is going to keep going. We've known that about the Eagles. So the season will still happen. And this is a big year. Now, John, a little bit later on in the segment, coming up in 5 minutes, you have something that you want to talk about with the folks on Unfiltered and the continued back and forth between the Prove It Year conversation.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni.
I'm putting a challenge out to the boys, and I'm going to see if they're willing to take it.
We will get to that in just 5 minutes here. But part of the ethos of that conversation is because of the level of pressure on the Eagles this year. And it doesn't just affect this season. They've done a near full 180 on the offensive scheme. They have players that they're going to have to pay on the defensive side of the ball. They have a quarterback that is in need of an extension at some point in the near future that is going to change the cap structure of this team. If this season does not go well, there could be some really, really uncomfortable times on the horizon for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I would say so. Really uncomfortable.
And that can make people nervous. We've become very used to, whether you want to admit to it or not, and I don't want to say complacent, but ask yourself about the type of football fan you are right now as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. We in this city have become very used to the Eagles being one of the, we'll use the gold standard term, gold standards of the National Football League. And I don't think that's changing anytime soon. But when you get used to greatness and then you consider it potentially going away, if even for a couple of seasons, that's a scary thought. So I think this worst-case scenario will actually end up making us feel better.
Okay, I need to hear more. I need to hear you hash this out a little bit. A little bit more.
What is the worst possible thing that could happen for the Philadelphia Eagles this year in your estimation? Like the bottom of the barrel floor of this team.
No questions. The worst thing is, are you talking record or something that happens to the team?
Let's start with the record.
Okay, record.
10 wins.
9-8.
Yeah, like
9-8. That's what I really believe would be something along those lines.
And that's everything going. How many teams in the NFL, and this is not how good we have it, but how many teams in the NFL would kill to go,
for 9-8?
To go
I got you.
9-8?
All right, now let me tell you, though, what I think as far as the team, though.
Yeah, the bigger scenario here. Give it to me.
Is that Sean Mannion stinks.
I thought you might go there.
Is that Sean Mannion, and I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that I think he's going to. But you told me, like, we're talking boogeyman here, that Sean Mannion stinks, that it's awful, that it's terrible and it's not what we expected and it really doesn't hash out the way we expected, and Sean Mannion looks like we're actually pining for the days of Kevin Patullo.
I don't think, dude, you could be the offensive coordinator. I don't think people would be asking for Kevin Patullo back. But I know what you're saying. So
you know what I'm saying?
This is perfect because that's what I imagined a lot of people would think about here. What if the turnaround with the offense, the change that they're going through, they've taken something that wasn't inherently broken and just looked really bad last year under Kevin Patullo, and they tried to fix something that wasn't broke. Listen,
right.
all the dads around the Delaware Valley will have that saying of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And maybe that's what the Eagles are trying to do here. So let's say Sean Mannion doesn't work. What do the Eagles do? They go out and they make that change. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie are not afraid of quick changes and pulling out of a tailspin earlier than pretty much any other organization, definitely in the city and in football. So they will make quick changes. They're not afraid of that. And that's kind of par for the course for the Eagles in the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era. Like new OC, changes all the time. They're used to that.
And the Eagles have been, as you say, change is that's their most common, that's the most consistent thing about the Eagles is change.
I think this organization is very comfortable with being uncomfortable and changing things around when they need to. So if Sean Mannion doesn't work, you know what you do? Hey, thanks for the time. We tried the experiment. We're can turn it around.
Yeah, we're done with you. Thank you for your time.
On top of that, if that doesn't work, and it is clearly the offensive coordinator, that's what's going to be a really interesting dynamic this year, is being able to differentiate if it doesn't work or if it does work, like who shares the piece of the pie. Like, is it Hurts? Is it Mannion? And who's actually making this thing run or not run? But if it's Mannion, and very clearly we saw last year, right, Kevin Patullo was the biggest issue with this offense. I don't think
that's
it was
fair.
Jalen Hurts didn't have his best year.
No.
But nobody came out of that season saying it was Hurts and not Patullo.
When you hear Jalen speak of talking with Sean Mannion, I think it's really clear that he enjoys dealing with the new Sean Mannion over what he dealt with last year.
So my point in that is just saying, like, we're going to know. I don't think we'll get to the end of this season and be like, oh, well, we can't tell if the issues that we did see, because there will be some issues to some extent, are Mannion or Hurts. We'll know which side it's on. If it's Mannion, they move on from him. You know what they do? They go right back to the 2024, hey, we're going to beat you with strength and power. We're going to run the football. We're going to do what Jalen Hurts does, which is manage the game. And they've proven multiple seasons they can have high-level, win the NFC type of success with that style. So
changing on the fly also.
you just go back to what worked before, and that's not something that honestly may be better for the long-term prospects of Jalen Hurts in this city as the franchise quarterback. He may be in a more comfortable position if they go back to that. All of this is dependent on what we see this year.
You know what's interesting, though, is you went to the word comfortable. And I think the Eagles made a conscious decision to say we don't give a damn about Jalen being comfortable. Whether that's a smart strategy or not, we're going to find out.
But that's a one-year thing to me, right? If the Sean Mannion thing doesn't work, and we're talking potential worst-case scenario for the Eagles.
The worst-case scenario.
I believe that the bottom line is more important than proving a point, and they will go back to, hey, what does Jalen Hurts feel most comfortable with? And you can win that way. So the worst case is you're back where you are, which was a pretty darn good place to be. But you're right with the making Jalen uncomfortable thing.
Yeah, I just don't think it. I think the Eagles have shown you by at least the strategy they've taken, even with his contract, they're not interested in making him comfortable.
I don't think Nick Sirianni feels comfortable either. And
I think that's clear because Nick Sirianni, from what I understand, Nick Sirianni he's got this year and next year under contract.
So talk to me then about this prove it conversation, because Unfiltered fired some more shots.
They were yesterday. As I was driving over to Marlton, which I found out when you drive from Landview over to Marlton can take you a long time.
Yes, it can.
In late afternoon. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Connor. And I'll even take the glasses off so so my boy can get a real good look at it, the boys in the afternoon. Let's get it, because I want Ricky and Bill to get a good look at this one. I'm making the guys a challenge because yesterday they even played the blasphemy of the Price is Right loser horns.
Oh, no. That's fighting words for
On
John
an
Kincade.
opinion of mine. By the way, 1 month from today, you'll see me on The Price is Right, June 29th. Okay, this is my challenge to Bill Colarulo and Ricky Patalico, who yesterday were playing Billy Big Balls as far as one of my opinions. Let me restate the opinion very clearly. If, and I say if, and by the way, I do not think this is going to happen, but if the Philadelphia Eagles were to not win a playoff game this season, so they do not win a playoff game, they can even win the division, they could make the playoffs. If the Eagles do not win a playoff game this season, I am 100% convinced that Nick Sirianni will not be their coach next season. This will be his last year. That was where Bill and yesterday, Bill and Ricky were playing the Price is Right loser horns on me, saying that is a ridiculous take, that I say this is a prove-it year. I think that's prove it. Am I being unfair to say a prove-it year is win a playoff game or you're out?
So I disagree with what you believe is going to happen.
No.
I don't disagree.
Well, what do you mean what I believe
not
is going
what
to
you
happen?
believe, like if they get to that point.
Okay.
I don't think you could just blanket say he's gone, but I think your thought process to get to that is exactly where I'm at with him. It's a prove-it year for both Sirianni and Hurts.
I think that he is absolutely out the door. If he does not win a playoff game, he's out the door. So if Ricky and Bill would like to make some sort of a wager with those exact parameters, Nick Sirianni does not win a playoff game this year, I say he's gone. If they believe differently and they think that's a ridiculous take, if they would like to make a wager, we can.
Okay, we'll see if they answer back. You can
You
hear
see?
them 2 to 6 this afternoon right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
I'll put my glasses back on.
There's a lot on the line for the Philadelphia Eagles this year. There's a lot on the line this weekend for two teams not named the Philadelphia 76ers. Coming up next, we've got an awesome Game 7 in the NBA that the stage was set for last night. And John has one more thing on the Jared McCain conversation. We'll also open up our Twitter poll based on the Phillies-Dodgers series. So a lot still to get into here. Don't go anywhere. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
the Fanatic Philadelphia. More of Kincade and Salciunas coming your way now.
What is the number one thing you want to see this summer in Philadelphia sports? We're opening that up here on this lovely summer Friday, the last one of May. I guess not technically summer. I know, John.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
He sent me something on that.
Yes.
I think that'll be fun to have with Amy Fadul later,
Yes.
who will join us from the start of the 8 o'clock hour till the end of the show. Jeff Kerr joins us at 9:30 to talk some Phillies as well. So we'll be joined by a couple of our friends on the show today. But I want to open up the text line to you out there. The Davis Honda text line is rolling, as it always is. And we have people checking in on the number one thing they want to see. You can experience the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington. Sean, what do we have on the text line?
Yeah, first up, Tim from Harrisburg checking in, saying the number one thing I want to see this summer is for the Flyers to trade for a number one center. Maybe Matthews. Matthews, if he wants out of Toronto, he'd be a great number one center.
I knew we'd get those people, Johnny.
Here
You're
we
already
go.
shaking your head. But you're in on Connor McDavid.
It's the ghost of Mr. Snyder in this fan base. It's like whatever the shiniest toy is out there, you go and you say, here's what I want. No, we don't want Connor McDavid, I'll talk to you. There's not the injury history.
But Austin Matthews full nonstop for
Austin
you there.
Matthews, no. The Connor McDavid, first off, Connor McDavid's the better player.
Well, yes.
But Austin Matthews, who is actually a year younger, but he's in chronological years, he's a year younger. But in body years, he's probably like 40. No, Austin Matthews is too banged up. And I am absolutely not going to empty the coffers. Danny Briere did everything he could to get this franchise back on track. He dug out of the salary cap hole. He did all the smart moves. He built up the draft picks. He did everything like that. I'm not making a deal like that. No. And I don't believe the Flyers are even considering it.
I don't think so either. I think they're very set on that, but it's going to be an interesting dynamic with the fan base of who's in on the splashy move and who wants to continue with this sustainable rebuild. It'll be a conversation we have throughout the summer, so great text there. We also have our Twitter poll up, thanks to Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. Has to do with the Phillies-Dodgers series, and we were talking about this earlier. Sean, what's our Twitter poll today?
Our Twitter poll is, after the Dodgers series, do you believe you will feel better or worse about the Phillies' chances this season? In first place, the same at 53%. In second place, feel better at 29%, and feel worse at 18%.
Okay, I like that because
there's an
Sam
optimism there. There's an optimism feeling there.
Yeah, and Sam should probably be the heavy favorite in that one because 3 games in May should not affect the overall outcome of the baseball season from a fan perspective, but more positive than negative shows you there are some folks buying back in on this baseball team right now. That's good to see. I like that.
I like it
because
too.
They're going to do some special things, like what Christopher Sanchez is doing right now. Kyle Schwarber still leading Major League Baseball in home runs. They're going to do some special things this summer. You can enjoy that without having to worry about where the season ends. The season will end for a great basketball team this weekend, though. Last night, the San Antonio Spurs forced a Game 7 between them and the Thunder. That series has been incredible, and the Thunder just did not have anything going last night. Andrew Salciunas, before he went on vacation, he will be back on Tuesday, so he's out the next couple of days of the show. He said that he believed there would be a Game 7 and that San Antonio would be bouncing back. How bought in are you on watching? Like, this has been clearly the best playoff series this year in the NBA. Maybe in the NBA, NHL combined with just the quality of basketball these teams are playing. Is this a sit down in front of the TV, have to watch a game?
It's one that I want to see, yeah. I want to see Game 7 of this because I'm fascinated with both teams. I'm fascinated with the champs. I'm fascinated with Wemby is as much must-see TV as I've seen in a long time. And this is one I will make an appointment to see. I'll probably be, I think is it an early Saturday night? I think it's an early Saturday night game.
Let me get the exact time.
If I'm not
for you on
mistaken.
that
I think
one.
they're starting it a little earlier, I hope.
Yeah, because we both have golf rounds, so hopefully it's not anything.
I got golf today and tomorrow.
Actually,
so.
8 o'clock Saturday night.
Okay, but that's
So
not bad
tomorrow
because
night.
then it'll lead us into the
Perfect.
Phillies.
Yes, that's exactly perfect. So that's a go
So it'll
out
be
to the
fun.
bar, get a seat at like 7:30, just buckle up for what should be a great basketball. Now, I know there's a guy, I'm not sure if you've seen him yet because he's not always a starter, but they have started him in Oklahoma City recently. Jared I want to say McCain,
Okay.
that you
Yeah, I
might
think
want to watch in this Game 7.
No. Wait, whoa. Paints the nails.
Yeah.
Does TikTok dances.
He went to Duke. He was somewhere before Oklahoma City, but
Puts
I
like
can't
20
quite
up
remember.
on in big games, like starts critical game 5s for the team.
Second highest scorer for the Thunder last night, even though they did lose the game.
Interesting. Okay. Wait a minute. A guy that Daryl Morey thinks you can't use?
You have a parting shot on Jared McCain, not on him personally, but on the situation.
Not at all. Yeah, not on him, but it is.
So tell me about this.
Is it too simplistic? And tell me if it is that the Sixers chose to keep Quentin Grimes and chose to believe in Quentin Grimes and traded away Jared McCain? Is it too simple to say that they obviously put their eggs in the Quentin Grimes basket over the Jared McCain basket?
I think it is.
Okay, explain to me why you say that.
I think that's part of the thought process. But
Okay,
I do
but
firmly,
it is part of it.
Part of it.
Okay.
I believe the bigger part of it was that they had another move. Daryl Morey misread the market, thought there was something else out there for a secondary move that didn't materialize.
Oh, and
he got caught with
by
his
the way,
pants
I do
down.
believe that also. I do
Right.
believe that he thought, I know there was another broken down guy.
But why he felt the ability to take
Right.
the swing was because, hey, we have Quentin Grimes.
Okay, so what I would ask you is this. Is there any general manager in the NBA that if they called today and they had Jared McCain would say, hello? Hey, we'll trade you Quentin Grimes for Jared McCain?
Has Nico Harrison gotten another job yet?
There is no general manager that would even not hang up the phone immediately, that would not laugh you off the phone. So anybody who is still defending this or still mocking it or still saying, oh, my God, we're talking about Jared McCain. Oh, my God. By the way, that's all the NBA is talking about is Jared McCain. So if you're not talking about Jared McCain, you're the one who's not talking about it. You're the one who's ignoring this because you don't want to. You don't want to admit how bad this is. There isn't a general manager in the NBA that would consider trading Jared McCain for Quentin Grimes.
No, there's not. You're absolutely correct. Now,
So to me, that is way too simplistic, Connor. Again, and at times it's a simplistic argument on my part. But to me, it is the idea that tells you how crappy that deal was. Crappy. I said crappy.
Careful over
that
there.
tells you how crappy it was.
Yes, you're right. There is no denying that. Like anyone with a basketball brain remotely, you don't even need a basketball brain. Anyone with eyes should be able to tell you that right now about the McCain Grimes thing. Here's my question. Daryl Morey got fired.
Yes.
He's no longer the president of basketball operations here. The trade ain't reversing.
You going to tell me I got to move on?
I'm just wondering when we do.
I'm
not telling you to. I'm wondering when we do.
It may be that you never move on as you watch what he becomes. As you watch what he becomes and you watch what the Sixers don't become. And hopefully we watch what the Sixers become.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about what the Sixers don't become. But when we're talking about what the Sixers become, the Sixers are going to become what they become a lot slower without Jared McCain. They're going to be a lot slower without Jared McCain.
Yeah, this is not going away anytime soon. This is going to be one of those ones that hurts you for years, and I wish we could take it back. Unfortunately, we are where we are with that, and you're going to have to watch him in a Game 7. So maybe people are rooting for the Spurs, so at least you don't have to think about it in the finals. We'll see. It'll be very intriguing basketball this weekend, another great sports event, and part of the reason why we're asking this question is, like, what do you want to see? The number one thing in Philadelphia sports this summer. You can join us on the phone line, text line, 610-632-0975. The Davis Honda text line is buzzing, so we'll check in on that in the 7 o'clock hour. Now, we're going to do A.J. Brown, talk heavy on Monday. But I do want to know, because there's a chance it happens early on Monday, what's the bar on an A.J. Brown trade? What's acceptable to you for a potential return? The drop-dead point for that comes your way next, right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Are we heading towards a lockout? I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association. The owners proposing a salary floor near $171 million. 15 teams this season are currently under that proposed floor. And more importantly for the Phils, the salary cap is proposed at $245 million. 6 teams are currently above that, including the Phillies. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on what could happen if baseball goes into a strike in 2027.
That's something that everybody in baseball should keep in mind. if they're thinking they can shut down the sport for a month or 2 or 3 or 6 and people will come back. People learn that there are other things to do in life.
The last time the owners wanted a salary cap was 1994. The players went on to strike, and the 94 World Series was canceled. The Phillies are back in action today after the day off. Phils take on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. Zach Wheeler gets the start. First pitch is at 10:15, and tonight's game is on Apple TV. Eagles are back at practice today for OTs. We'll keep you updated on anything news out of South Philly. And the NBA Board of Governors passed the new anti-tanking rules. The lottery will change from 14 to 16 teams. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the
John Connor, Kincade Salciunas, Philly Sports Talk, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
What is the bar on an A.J. Brown trade? We could find out where Howie Roseman's bar is set as early as Monday, June 1st. Of course, if you have lived under a rock for the past couple of months, the reason why the Eagles have had to wait until this point is the way that the cap is structured. You get significant relief, or at least able to spread it out over multiple years if you moved A.J. Brown via trade post June 1st. So this has always been the expectation. Being that that is Monday, we are reaching the point, the pinnacle of this rumor cycle, the reporting. Honestly, can you remember, Johnny, before we get deeper into this, a crazier trade process than what we're going through with A.J. Brown right now?
The only thing I can ever think of that was this crazy, and you guys wouldn't remember it, is the Eric Lindros, how the Flyers acquired Eric Lindros. And they had to go to court, to acquire the rights to Eric Lindros.
Yeah.
And there had to be a court hearing. And I remember the day that the judge was ruling on it as to which team was going to get him.
It's like a custody hearing.
And it was,
almost.
it was because Quebec had made 2 trades. Quebec had made 2 deals, and the judge had to decide which deal was legitimate.
See, that type of stuff happens in like your fantasy football league. It shouldn't be happening in the NHL, but that's certainly a contender. With the A.J. Brown saga, you have a team that is very much still in championship contention. Just the nature of moving on from a number 1 wide receiver, that caliber of player, you have to figure out, well, why in the world are they going to do it? And we know because of the issues from last season and the untenable situation between him and Jalen and the organization as a whole, like, that's just the baseline. Then you get all the Rossini-Vrabel stuff that comes out of this. You get the half the fan base believing that it's fake and it's not actually going to happen. And is there a mystery team? Is it always the Patriots? We don't know this stuff for sure. But what we can make a pretty safe guess on is where everything stands as far as compensation. We've heard the most concrete stuff about what you're going to get back, or at least what Howie Roseman is asking for. The most recent report, and we played this for you yesterday, we'll play it again for you here. Ian Rappaport on NFL Network was talking about the potential return for A.J. Brown. And he also said that the Patriots might not be willing to meet the price of a first-round pick.
You know, we're all waiting for June 1st to happen so the cap hit is in half for the Philadelphia Eagles and they could trade him. I just don't know that it's going to be like snap your fingers and the deal is done, because the two sides are where they have been, which is the Eagles wanting a first-round pick in 2027. The Patriots, the most likely destination. We'll see if someone else arises, but Patriots, the most likely destination, not being willing to give up a first-round pick as of right now. That means they're not particularly close, and yeah, there's a chance this could drag on for the foreseeable future.
And again, the key word in the piece is 2027. Howie would absolutely prefer a 2027 first-round pick. If somebody came with a 2027 first-round pick, I believe that A.J. Brown would not go to New England. I believe he'd go somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I believe New England will not be the team they were last year. I don't think New England has a shot to go to the Super Bowl.
No.
With or without A.J. Brown.
They had a cupcake schedule. They're not doing that.
And you're going to see them now have a tougher schedule. You're now going to see, I believe, Buffalo will be right back to being on top of that division. Now, a good team, yeah, they're still going to be they're a good club. It'll be a good club. But as far as what I believe is going to happen with that team, I think Howie would take a call. But I think he'd prefer to have a 2027 first-round pick. But I'm going to stick with what Adam Schefter's been reporting. He's going to get a 2028 first-round pick. That's what it's going to be.
But you do believe there will be a first-round pick?
Yes, absolutely. And remember, Rappaport's words were very clearly 2027.
Yes.
And I believe that is a cover-your-ass NFL insider thing, that he can go back later and say, well, I said 2027, so I got it right.
Yeah.
I think he clearly chose his words properly.
Now, that's good news for people like
by the way, Adam Schefter, and this is no knock on Ian Rappaport, who does a fantastic job. Adam Schefter has broken 1,000 things more than Ian Rappaport has, is all I'm just going to say to you, is that Ian does a really good job. There's a reason that Adam makes $8.5 million a year.
Yeah, there's also a reason he joins us every Wednesday. This is a big.
Well, that's not part of the. By the way, that's not part of the. It is part of the $8.5 million, but it's not. That's his salary.
He will join us on Monday at 6:40 a.m.
Wow.
Bright and early.
6:40 a.m.
This is such a huge story. We said, Adam,
be a big day.
I don't care what you got going on. You got to join. No,
did we make a demand like that? No, or did we just say we'll take you whenever we can have you?
He said he's got a golf trip, so he's got to do that.
Yes, that works out good.
But it's great timing, so you're not going to want to miss that Monday morning. This is good news to me, though, because I am in the camp of, if A.J. Brown is not fetching me a first-round pick in return, whether it's 27 or 28, I'm good with either of those. If it's not a first, he's not moving.
So you know what's really funny is I really thought you were going to push back on me with this, because like you're absolutely lockstep with me. If Howie I believe he has a first-round pick locked up, but if he doesn't have a first-round pick locked up, I'm letting A.J. Brown sit. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get desperate. Somebody's going to want him. I absolutely am letting him sit.
Now, you got to explain this a little bit to me, because you've been on the record as saying, like, I want him to go to the worst scenario possible if I can do that.
Yeah, but I'm also the person who said, though, I would trade him to the Rams.
Yeah.
I would have no problem trading him to the Rams if it was the best deal. If it was the best deal possible, I'd trade him to the Rams.
So which of those sides, do they coexist? It feels like
Well-
they're competing sides.
Well, the thing is, though, as a 2027 first-round pick, I believe the New England 2028 first-round pick will still be more valuable than a 2027 Rams first-round pick.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with the new Stafford deal that's got him locked down for 2 years.
So I'm looking at it going 2027 first-round pick for the Rams. Look, 2027 first-round pick for the Rams, I'm fully expecting is 26 or worse.
So what if it's just a first-round pick, whether it's 27, 28, whatever? We agree on the first-round pick. What if there's no additional pick, additional player?
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with it, especially when the talk is the knee.
Yeah.
The knee of A.J. Brown, and that could be potentially a problem.
Now, Andrew DeCecco told us yesterday, joined us in studio. He said he believes he still has a couple of years of really high-level football in him. And Andrew's around the team a lot and gets to see AJ.
And I respect Andrew's opinion on these matters very, very much. Where was the high level last year, though?
Well,
okay,
there's a lot of stuff that goes
I'm just
into
being
that.
serious, though. Did you see a high level performance last year?
1,000 yards. I mean,
In
that's-
a 17-game season, is 1,000 yards that much?
it's not, but for what the issues were on the offensive side of the ball for the Eagles, I still think that's quite a feat.
Okay, it's 59 yards a game. Is 1,000 yards?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Let's be honest about that. I don't need to hear a 1,000-yard season.
But it's a 1,000-yard season for an offensive coordinator that had no idea how to scheme a passing offense.
Okay.
So that has to be part of the conversation.
Then that's fine, as long as we are also bringing up the fact that this is a guy who was visibly quitting on routes.
Yeah.
And had multiple incidents, Rams game, Denver game, playoff game, where he was failing to, let's just say, go balls to the wall.
See, even when he's giving up, he's getting 1,000 yards in a season. How great is this guy?
And to me, that's where I scoff at the good teammates crap.
Yeah.
And look, Andrew DeCecco knows more what goes on in that locker room than I do. He absolutely does. But I scoff and I roll my eyes at what a great teammate A.J. Brown is.
This is something we'll dive deeper into on Monday.
If you showed up and didn't give full effort and you were pissed at our boss. You were pissed at Scott about something. And you decided that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you were not going to give full effort at work. You weren't going to prepare for the show. You weren't going to help us out and do all the things you normally do to keep this show running well. And that was going to be like your little mini protest. Then you suck.
Yeah.
You suck as a professional. And you know what? You're not a good teammate if you do that. So when I hear the good teammate stuff, I'm like, spare me. That's not a good teammate. That is, in fact, the definition of a bad teammate.
This will be all part of the conversation
Monday.
because Monday is A.J. Brown Day.
It's going to be
all.
Mondays. Look, the whole city's going to be talking about A.J. Monday.
But I want to know what people think about that on the phone line and the text line, 610-632-0975. Davis Honda text line is open. We're going to check it in just a second here. But add to that, what is the drop-dead bottom line bar for an A.J. Brown trade? For me, it is not just a first. It is a first plus. Now,
Okay,
if
so
that's
you're saying is it based on his performance?
Yeah, if it's like a fourth that turns into a conditional third.
Depending on what he does.
If it's just another player that's somewhat usable, I think it should be a first plus. And if you're not giving me that, we'll hang up the phone. We'll talk later when you decide to come to the table with something I want. That's where I'm at.
Do you believe? So am I taking this to believe though that you don't? So do I say that because I don't want to put words in your mouth? Do you not believe a deal is done? I believe a deal's done. I'm convinced a deal's done.
I believe a deal's close.
So you believe a deal's close?
I don't think anything's done.
Rodman, where are you in this? You think a deal's done, like where it's pretty much like no, it is agreed to. I think a deal's agreed to.
No, I don't think a deal's agreed to.
So you don't. You're in Connor's camp. I think a deal's agreed to. I don't believe these reports of, nothing's done till June 1st. But I believe a deal has been agreed.
I don't think we would have heard last week that the Jags and all these other teams started to be interested if a deal was done. Because that just makes me think that one side's trying to get the price either to go up, and that meaning the Eagles.
The one side that would be doing that would be Howie, right?
Yeah,
right.
and
Howie trying to play a little sneaky pool.
Oh, Howie Roseman would never do that, though.
I think Howie's a freaking genius.
He's the best at this. And I think the best strategy would be not having a deal done at this time to open up more parties to come in. And I always will defer to what the best strategy is probably what Howie Roseman's doing.
I think that's fair, Connor. I think that's very good on your part.
So that's where we're at with that. I'd love to hear, though, is there somebody who's like, I don't care, 7th-round pick. Just move A.J. Brown at all costs. You can let us know on the phone line and text line there. We've also been asking you, what's the number one thing that you want to see in Philadelphia sports this summer? What do we have for our friends on the text line there, Shawnee?
Yeah, Mike from Virginia checking in saying that the thing that I want the city needs most is the championship from the Phillies. So the thing that we need this summer is a right-handed bat that strikes fear.
Okay, so maybe a little bit of late summer trade deadline action, bringing in the right-handed bat. I'm telling you, Johnny, people are buying back in on this team. That's a good thing, and I don't want to say it's a bad thing.
Is that a text from could that text have come in from like 2025 or 2024?
No, there was.
Sean, can you say it was sent this morning?
This was sent this morning.
Because I think that could have been sent the last 3 years in May. Somebody could have sent that.
Absolutely. But I like that people have win a championship on their mind. They're the only team
like
actively
it too.
playing.
By the way, I truly, as much as I'm going to bust their balls, I do believe that this team can win a championship this year. I do.
Sure.
I do believe this team can win a championship this year. Is it likely? No. But do I believe it could happen? Absolutely. Do I believe that in mid-October we could be talking about the Phillies being in the NLCS with a chance to go to the World Series, chance to win a World Series? Absolutely. Like I don't even hesitate with that.
Yeah, I just think that there's still a sizable gap between how the top teams in baseball are playing right now and the best that we've seen from the Phillies this year. Do I think they could be it? Yes. Do I think they are right now? No.
I think that's fair.
They're going to have to continue to prove that. What else do we have on the text line, Sean?
Yeah, one person checking in saying the thing that I want to see most is this summer is the U.S. winning the World Cup.
Oh, look at that. Hey.
Wait a minute.
Listen.
Wait a minute. Are
Now,
you
don't you
freaking
wait a
kidding
minute.
me? Are you kidding me?
I'm
I
not
mean,
mad
seriously.
at that.
Are we like, what are we doing now?
I'm not
like,
mad at
I
that.
mean, the two of you, what are we doing here?
That would be my number one.
Okay.
But I don't think that they're winning the World
What do you
Cup.
think, like pixies and fairies are going to come out of the sky? We're all of a sudden going to be competitive in a sport that, by the way, we've been telling the American people we're going to get better at in the last 50 years. For 50 years, we've been telling the people, selling the people a bill of goods that America's about to, soccer's just about to, like, take off in America. It's just about to, like, become the biggest thing. They have been saying this since the Flyers were winning the Stanley Cup. When I was a little boy, 3rd, 4th grader, they've been telling us in America when Pele was playing, oh, man, American soccer, it's on the verge, baby.
Well, Messi's here now.
Yeah,
please.
golden generation. Does he have dual citizenship? That might be the only way.
You know what? Messi's playing an A-ball.
But we're letting people dream a little bit today. So
That's dreaming.
That would be incredible.
Wake up that person, though, because that person could be behind the wheel right now.
Yeah,
Was that a voice text?
I don't think that
They better
United
be in a
States-
Waymo.
Hey, maybe FIFA will cook the books for the home nation.
No,
Who
cook
knows?
the books.
You're not far off with what they do.
Well, guess what? Cooking the books.
But that's another big thing, right? As part of the reason we're having this conversation. The World Cup coming to Philadelphia and the United States in general. You're going to have some really great, like, world-level sporting events in this city this summer. And it's a time that makes you think about all of the great things that we could see in the coming months. Now, maybe Team USA, if they want to compete, maybe they just need to do their version of tanking. I don't know what that would be for a national team.
Well, no, Connor, they've been doing that since I was in grade school. But they just haven't figured out how to stop the tanking. Because we actually suck more. We suck more than in 1994. I took clients. I was in a totally different career. And I don't want to statute of limitations has run out. I maneuvered the books on my annual budget that I was allowed, my entertainment budget. Boy, did I maneuver the books to be able to take clients to World Cup games. I took clients to World Cup games at the Meadowlands. I took clients to World Cup games in California and down in Florida, I believe it was. 3 different World Cup games. Amazing events. To hear you guys talk about going to World Cup games is great. We are further away today, 30 years later, from being relevant on the world stage than we were 30 years ago. And that is impossible. That's impossible. The amount of money that we invest in soccer, the amount of money that the amount of attention that's paid to it.
Well, they have not fixed the tanking, but maybe the NBA has.
Have they?
New lottery structure implemented by the NBA. And John, I can't tell. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What was your reaction when you saw the new, what they're calling the 3-2-1 lottery system?
I think I hate it. And what I did, Connor, and I pulled this up so we could both look at a graphic.
Okay.
So it's like just in case we could both look at it. Your eyes are pretty good.
Yeah, I can see.
It's like they have the old odds, new odds, like little graphic that's side by side.
The biggest difference is that it flattens the odds for the general teams. The lottery is now expanded from 14 to 16.
I like the fact that the general odds are flattened because I think that makes it more exciting. It's going to be exciting.
There's a chance that a team that makes the play-in tournament could get the number 1 overall pick.
If you make the play-in tournament, if you are a 10 seed, if you're a 10 seed, you can get you have a 5.4% of winning the lottery. If you're a 9 seed, you have a 5.4% of winning the lottery. That is the same percentage, though, of the 3 teams that have the 3 worst records in the NBA. That bothers me.
Yes.
That sucks. I think that part of it sucks. The teams with the 4th worst record to the 10th worst record having 8.1% chance to win the lottery, every one of them. I think that I don't like it. I would rather have seen it that from the worst record to the 8th record, let's say, or the worst record to the 6th worst record, and then the 6th worst record to the 7th worst record to the 12th, that they have the same odds.
Gotcha. Because
I don't like it that there's no way that the 11th worst record to the 14th worst record should have the same odds as the 3 worst teams.
Yeah, so what this does, right, the 3 worst teams, because we saw this incredible race to the bottom in the NBA this year, and we've seen it in multiple seasons in recent history. What this does, ideally, from the NBA's perspective, is it decentivizes teams that just say, like the Washington Wizards, who got the number 1 overall pick. They had Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and those guys played like 5 games together once that deal went down that had Anthony Davis and Trae Young there. Like once it added all of them together. They completely did not even try to play their star players, and there were other teams, the Utah Jazz, another team in there. It decentivizes that. What the NBA overlooks with this new system is there are teams that are just that bad. Like there are going to be teams that are terrible for sake of being terrible, and there are also teams that are going to be terrible because they can't compete. And those teams that are rightfully down at the bottom are going to get unfairly punished by this new system. Now, why is this important for Sixers fans? You currently hold the Los Angeles Clippers 2028 first-round pick, which could be an incredibly valuable one. It is the most valuable draft asset the organization holds. Let's say they're the worst team in basketball that year. Your chances of where that pick ends up, ending up high with the number 1 overall pick or something of that ilk, now diminish if you're a Sixers fan. So it's not ideal for that situation.
It's not. That could be a big problem.
Can I clarify one thing as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Out of the switching it to 16 teams, the 7-8 play-in matchup to get to either the 7 seed or the 8 seed, that spot now gets into the lottery.
Yeah,
as well.
they get and they have a 2.7% chance.
Right.
They have half the chance of the team with the worst record.
So if you're the Sixers in the 7-8 matchup, you almost maybe want to rather lose that game to get the 8th seed.
Yeah, it changes the tanking will be a little bit cut back from this, but the teams that are actually bad will be hurt by this, and the question of the competitive balance is still existent with this system. We'll see how it plays out, but it really changes the structure of how teams are going to go about trying to rebuild. And if you believe the Sixers are headed towards, in any sense, another rebuild, this changes the way you look at it. So big news in sports out of the NBA yesterday with the new anti-tanking policy. You can let us know how you feel about that at 610-632-0975. Speaking of league actions, it's been a big week in Major League Baseball. We have the first proposals from either side of the upcoming, or I guess we can call it ongoing at this point, MLB labor dispute. Where does it stand for baseball in 2027? And how does it help or hurt the Phillies? We'll tell you all you need to know about that coming up next, and you'll hear from Hall of Fame baseball writer Jason Stark on what a work stoppage could mean for fans like you. It's Kincade and Salciunas back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
I'm going out and playing golf today at a place called North Hills Country Club. Great. I got invited out by my friend Joe. You know, the guy who never cleans out his garage. The guy who needs a bagster more than anything else. The dumpster in a bag. Yeah, he's out playing golf on a Friday when he could be cleaning out his garage with a bagster. It's just $29.99, so I know he could afford it. The 3-cubic-yard dumpster in a bag. He could pick one up on the way to the golf course at Home Depot, Lowe's, or local home improvement stores. He could get it. He doesn't have to use it today. So he can play golf, and he could use and clean out that garage tomorrow, or the attic, or the remodeling project that you've got going on. The bagster can take on all the debris. You buy it any day you want. You take it home. Then you set it up, you fill it, you schedule the collection, and it'll be gone. There's no time limits. It's completely on demand. So go to thebagster.com and find the store nearest you. It might be right near the golf course you're playing when you should be cleaning out that garage. The Bagster is so easy. It's so convenient. It's so simple. And when I tell you that I can set up a Bagster, that means that I know that you can. Hey, the Bagster is going to be the thing that helps you finally get out of the doghouse by cleaning up that project that you've been putting off and putting off and putting off. Hey, John Kincade telling you, clean it up with the Bagster. It's the dumpster in a bag.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
The potential salary cap in the MLB. I'm Sean Rodman. The MLB Owners Association submitted its first proposal to the Players Association, introducing a salary floor and salary cap. 15 teams this season are currently under the proposed floor, and 6 teams in the 2026 salaries are above the proposed cap, including the Phillies by $36 million as of this year. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on why the MLB wants a new cap system.
They say this is about competitive balance. Should we look at who's in first place right now? The Rays, big spenders. Guardians, they're big spenders. The Brewers, they're often confused with the Dodgers. Does that seem like a competitive balance problem?
A little sarcasm from Jason Stark there. And the last time the owners wanted a salary cap was 1994. The players went on a strike, and the 94 World Series was canceled. Phillies are back in action today. After the day off, they take on the Dodgers. Zach Wheeler gets the start. First pitch is at 10:15. Tonight's game is on Apple TV. Amy Fadul will join us at 8 until the end of the show, and Jeff Kerr joins us at 9:30. And this update's brought to you by Firebirds Wood Fired Grill. Stand Up to Childhood Cancer, June 5th through the 7th. Alex Scott was a 4-year-old cancer patient who decided to help find a cure for kids' cancer with a lemonade stand. Join Firebirds for Lemonade Days all June long to make an impact through Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
7 a.m. hour is brought to you by the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the Bet Parks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are we going to have a baseball season in 2027? Like, are we going to lose an entire year of one of the 4 major North American sports? That's something that is very much on the table. We're going to talk about in a minute the latest from the MLB labor dispute, proposals out from both sides. I'm Connor Thomas, in for Andrew Salciunas. He'll be back on Tuesday. John Kincade to my left, Sean Rodman on the board. We were also just talking about the NBA tanking policy, the anti-tanking policy that they instituted with the change to the lottery. YouTube is rolling. They were talking about that a little bit. Mike's 426 said this was not a fix for tanking, but just an overreaction to a one-year outlier, what the NBA did.
No, this is a response to the stupidity that the 76ers imposed on the sport. They should call this the Hinkie rule. They should call this the stupid Sixers rule.
I mean,
it is. This is a response to teams. What the Sixers started, this stupid process, this is a response to it. This is when children don't know how to act. At some point, somebody has to step in and say, okay, the children don't know how to act, so now we're going to discipline them. And that's what this is. So they had to come up with it.
Yeah.
I don't like the plan they came up with, but it's better than nothing. Anything that keeps that away.
The Sixers started it like a decade ago. So if this is just a response to the Sixers, it's a pretty late response.
Because it's spun out of control. So it's done.
I don't blame the Sixers for that. I blame the league for not having better, quicker reaction to something that could have become a problem. You have to, if you're running these leagues, like we're talking about billion-dollar entities, you have to have the foresight to try and avoid things that are this detrimental to the quality of play that you're seeing. Now, the NBA clearly did not have that with the tanking situation. They're trying to rectify it. Major League Baseball clearly has not had that to this point when it comes to the new labor dispute. So if you're unaware of what's coming down the pipe for Major League Baseball, December 1st, the current CBA will expire, which means at that point they will officially be in need of a new one, and they'll have to agree. The Players Association and the owners will have to come to some agreement on some proposal, and the number one point of contention is a salary cap. This has been something that's happened before in baseball. I'm sure, Johnny, you remember. Now, I was born in 94.
I remember it well.
I don't remember it at all, but 94, you lost the World Series that season. 200-plus days.
Here's what I'm going to say to you is, and I have somebody on Twitter here, and I can tell Charles is asking the questions. He goes, there was a Major League Baseball work stoppage in 1994 because the owners wanted a salary cap, which they winded up not getting, what makes you think they're getting one now? Charles, I understand that point. You're asking that point. When that work stoppage was going on, not one team, not one pro sport had implemented a salary cap yet. So there was no salary caps in pro sports. The NFL, the next season, was the first one with the salary cap. So it had never been implemented in pro sports yet. We have 30 years of data, 31 years of data, 32, I guess, that now tells us every of the other pro sports has a salary cap. And before all the people start coming out of the woodwork telling you, oh, it's pro management to get a salary cap, here are the lies that they will tell you that, and these are the lies. Every single player, salaries go up in pro sports when there's a salary cap, more than they were before a salary cap. And salaries continue to go up. There's revenue sharing in pro sports that doesn't exist to a level ever even close. Revenue sharing goes up, which is better for everybody. There is the teams' values have gone up. So the people who own the franchises goes up. It has been better for every sport, and every player on every team makes more money because of a salary cap.
Now, let's get down to brass tacks here. As simple, because there's all this stuff. I read a long article in The Athletic yesterday about the different proposals from each side, and we don't need to go into the escrow and the revenue and the TV sharing. Right. Here's basically what it is. The owners want the salary cap for the league, and the guys that they're using, whether you believe it or not, is the competitive balance of the sport. This is essentially the Dodgers conversation that you've heard a million times. There's the haves and the have-nots, and the ability to compete does not exist for the low payroll teams in baseball. And for the overview of the sport, the owners are saying it's a bad thing that X number of teams head into opening day without a remote shot to ever compete for a World Series. On the players' side, and I think anybody can understand this principle, nobody wants to have their earning ability capped. Like, nobody wants to say, okay, I can only earn X amount of dollars this year in this job. The idea is, because we're all greedy at a base level, you want to make as much money as you can.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of nuance to that about what's good for the sport and what's not. Something you're going to see, and you've already seen it with commentary from both sides. They're going to say, this is why it's better for the fans. This is why what we're doing is better for the fans than the players, or vice versa. It is on you to make that determination of what you would like, but the Major League Baseball structure is, like you said, John, the outlier in North American professional sports.
Could what I would say to you is Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, okay? So Milwaukee, we're going to use Milwaukee as Green Bay, okay? Pittsburgh, the Pirates, Steelers. Then we use Kansas City, Royals, Chiefs. 3 cities that cannot compete in Major League Baseball under the current structure. Cannot compete. Haven't competed in forever in baseball's current structure. Can you tell me what they do in the football structure?
Oh, they compete. Well,
because
the Steelers have Aaron Rodgers. But your point.
But the Steelers are one of the most successful franchises in their sport, one of the gold standard franchises in their sport, because the salary cap allows everybody to play on an even playing field. Mm-hmm. And it allows small market teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City Royals will not be a dynasty in modern day baseball.
No. But
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
The Tampa Bay Rays don't win World Series, even though they've gotten there. They've gotten there twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe they played the Phillies.
They went there twice. They got there a second time, right? Or
they played in the COVID World Series.
The COVID World Series,
I want to say.
Against the Dodgers. There is all you need to see is that small market teams cannot compete.
I'm pro salary cap. I hope that is the outcome for it, because I believe that's what's best for the game. What I'll say is, back in '94, when that eventually ended, it did not end with a salary cap, though that was a big part of those negotiations. The owners eventually gave up that point. But by all reports, the owners are more bullish than they ever have been on instituting a salary cap.
Right.
And the players are going to continue to be, in some part, and vehemently opposed.
And here's where the difference is, and for guys like you and for guys like Rodman and many in our listening audience, but there are many in the listening audience that look more like me as far as age-wise, that can understand this. When that strike went down, when the work stoppage went down, when the owners, kept the players out, the strike, when that was going down, and Tom Glavine was the leader of the Players Association, a guy I know really well, there is a difference. Baseball was America's number one sport. Baseball was the number one sport in America, not football.
And if you've noticed,
you guys can't even imagine that.
No, we can't.
You guys can't. You guys cannot imagine a world where Major League Baseball is bigger than the NFL. And it existed half of my life. Baseball was bigger than the NFL.
So how much do they stand to lose?
Damaged it.
Yeah, how much do they stand to lose now that they're not number one? Jason Stark talked about it with Unfiltered earlier this week. Yesterday, he spoke about what fans could do if there is an extended work stoppage.
Like, the cash register is ringing now, and the sport's in a good place for the most part now. But do you really think that baseball has ever regained its place in the American heart and soul? Somebody taught me once a great lesson. You should never let people learn that they can live without that thing they think they can never live without. That's something that everybody in baseball should keep in mind if they're thinking they can shut down the sport for a month or 2 or 3 or 6 and people will come back. People learn that there are other things to do in life. And I don't want them to learn that, because baseball has been my life.
It's been a lot of our lives.
And he's right, though.
He absolutely is. There's
He's
a
right,
lot of
because
stuff.
people will figure it out because baseball never recovered. Baseball was passed by football after that strike. Football never looked back. The American public never looked back. And football was catching up to baseball. Like it was closing the gap. And then football jumped it, and it never looked back.
And if you don't think that could possibly happen
And
again,
it could. It absolutely could.
well, man, baseball's in trouble. And
Right.
those sides are not close right now. So we'll keep you updated on one of the bigger stories developing, and we'll continue over the coming months in major North American professional sports. Now, we're going to go off the beaten path a little bit here coming up next because it is time for today's headlines with Sean Rodman. We'll also get an update on our Twitter poll numbers, and we'll reset what we've been getting into today with the conversation about the number one thing you want to see in Philadelphia sports this summer. It is Kincade and Salciunas back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Phillies are in the middle of a stretch of playing some of the NL West's best. The Padres, the Dodgers, then another series with the Padres. What do they have to show you to have you believe that they're back and compete for the National League crown? Let's talk about it. The best sports talk in Philly is right here. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
America's All-Star Chiefs Big birthday bash is on, and Barbera's on the boulevard.
Yo soy Christopher Sánchez. Claro que sí.
Huh?
Voy a ganar.
Gotcha.
Barbera!
America's turning a nifty, thrifty 250, and Gary Barbera's celebrating.
The big tents, they're up, but prices are down,
cheap.
way down.
Just $250 down. Turkey, Grand Cherokee, thousands off.
Get your butt to Barbera.
With just $250 down, you're driving around Philly town, right, Christopher
Yo soy
Sanchez?
Christopher Sánchez y síganme a Gary Barbera en el
With
Boulevard.
Sanchez selection and extra Sanchez savings for America's big birthday bash at Barbera. Cherokees, Grand Cherokee, just $250 down.
Is Barbera the best?
Tell them, All-Star.
Voy a ganar.
Happy birthday, USA!
Barbera!
Chiefs, cheap. Thousands off and just an American All-Star, $250 down. Just $250 down. Right, Christopher Sanchez?
Voy a ganar.
Christopher Sanchez. Go fight!
I'm Gary Barbera with one more thing to say. Happy birthday, USA.
When the weather swings from cold to warm, inside your home shouldn't. At Rycor, we specialize in modern, high-efficiency heat pumps built for both heating and cooling, designed to keep you comfortable in every season. From expert installation to handling all permits and rebates, we make the whole process simple. Visit us today at RycorHVAC.com or call 1-855-BUY-RYCOR. That's RycorHVAC.com or call 1-855-MY-RYCOR.
Losing your hair and wishing you could actually do something about it? Here's the thing. Hair restoration isn't always surgery. There are topical treatments, medications, and non-invasive options that actually work. The team I trusted with my hair is Morgenstern Hair Restoration, and they've been changing lives and hairlines for over 30 years. They've expanded with 3 locations across Pennsylvania, Bala Cynwyd, Wayne, and Lancaster. Remember, where you go matters. Call 610-831-HAIR and tell them John Mark sent you.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Supercharge your brand with a powerful mix of radio, streaming audio, and digital solutions, and ensure your business gets the exposure it needs. Reach your audience during their morning commute or online with customized local advertising that delivers results. With comprehensive tools and expert guidance, we transform local businesses into household names. Partner with us for a marketing campaign that drives success and watch your business grow. Connect with us today to get started. Visit 975thefanatic.com/advertise.
This is Len Lundy of Lundy Law. Every year, millions are hurt in car accidents. The numbers are overwhelming. But if you're injured in an accident, don't feel overwhelmed. Call Lundy Law. We remove the stress and get you the maximum compensation you deserve. We hope we never meet because of an accident. But if we do, we're here for you. Remember our name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com.
In the heart of
is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Let's get an update on our Twitter poll today. It's brought to us, as always, by Dr. Avidat Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. Today's headlines comes your way in just a couple of minutes. Sean, our Twitter poll on the Phillies, what are the latest numbers?
Yeah, our latest numbers on the question of after the Dodgers series, do you believe you will feel better or worse about the Phillies' chances this season? In first place still, but a little lower, the same at 49%. Feeling worse is now in second at 29%, and feeling better at 22%.
So there it goes, a flip from what we heard earlier. If the Phillies go out and they lose the series to the Dodgers or, God forbid, get swept, I'm going to be really interested because I saw people buying back in on this team after the San Diego series. It's not, hey, World Series back on, but it was just like, I'm excited for what this team could do this summer. I wonder how quickly that could shift. It is still just another 3 games in May, but it feels big.
Connie, you've been here long enough.
Yeah, I know.
You know how quickly it can shift.
Yes.
It can shift really, really quickly. It could get really, really ugly fast. If they were to get swept by the Dodgers, then the people will come out of the woodwork that are quiet. Their Twitter fingers are quiet the last few days. Look, there are many reasons to complain about this Phillies team this year. Many. But it's not a it's not a team that, to me, you should be writing off anytime soon.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
I agree with you on that. Now, I would never write off Sean Rodman anytime soon because he's got great stuff for us in today's headlines. What do we got, Shawnee?
Today's headlines with Sean, no relation to Dennis Rodman.
All right, today's headlines is brought to you by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com.
Where are we going today?
All right, well, we're going to head over to Europe, to one of the biggest upsets in sports history and the biggest upset in tennis history. The number 1 ranked tennis player, Jannik Sinner, lost to an unranked tennis player, Juan Manuel Cerundolo. Now, Cerundolo was unranked. The odds before the match were 10,000 to 1.
Oh, my gosh.
For the unranked player.
This was at Roland Garros, I'm guessing, because the what is it? The French Open is going on right now. See, I got tennis in my bag.
Jannik Sinner at one point was up 2-0.
Are you kidding me?
He was then up in the third set 5-1 and lost. It is one of the craziest betting losses for some people ever.
So if you were live betting that, like on my BetParks app, in that third set, I bet that could have been even more.
One person put up $50,000 on Jannik Sinner.
Oh, no.
On a betting app.
See, that's why you can't be doing that. Hey, I'm going to make $5 on this $50,000. That's how you get got.
Wow.
Oh, hey, incredible
That's really
stuff.
bad. That's really bad.
What else do we have, Sean?
All right, next up, we're going to go to the world of basketball. And Jeff Teague on his podcast, he was talking about...
Jeff Teague has a podcast?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
He does great stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he's really funny.
I didn't know that.
He had a conversation with some of his friends on the podcast about his Indiana days. He was talking about a conversation with Larry Bird when he was the team president. Larry Bird said he would never do this one thing when they're talking about LeBron James.
And I was like, LeBron better than you? He said, LeBron's the greatest player ever besides Michael. I was like, damn, he was, I'll never pay anybody who played with LeBron. I would never pick him up on my team.
Damn.
And I said, why? He said, because he make them all look good. They all really sad. And they're not going to be the same player you wanted.
Really? You got to turn your mic on.
I did. Hey, there we go.
There we go.
All right. Little mic issue. Interesting thought process there. I don't think that's fair. Like LeBron played with Dwayne Wade. Would Larry Bird have not had Dwayne Wade on his basketball team because he played with LeBron?
Wow.
Chris Bosh.
I mean, you think about some of the other guys. Like
Kyrie Irving.
By the
Mario
way,
Chalmers.
How am I just finding
have some respect for Mario Chalmers.
How am I just finding out that he has a podcast?
Jeff Teague has some of
he was a great guy, got to cover some of his career, and he was a great guy to deal with.
A really funny storyteller. Yeah, he's got some great stuff.
He's a great guy. Really great guy, so that's awesome.
I'd imagine that's why Larry Bird had more success as a player than somebody who was coaching her in the front office.
Right.
What else we have?
All right, last up, we've been talking about what we want. What's our wish list in Philadelphia? What do we want to see this summer? Well, one thing Phillies fans may want to see this summer is not a right-handed bat. It's from the pitching mound, and it might be on the top of the wish list for a lot of people.
Tarek Skubal, who's going to be a free agent in the fall, would bring back a ton of value. And if he is traded, pay attention to some of the usual suspects, teams like the Dodgers, like the Phillies. I think the San Diego Padres will be an interesting team to watch.
That, of course, the voice of Buster Olney from ESPN.
I do not believe the Phillies are loading up if they're going to do and spend that they're going to give up prospects and everything that they're saying we're going to load up on another starter. No, do not believe that's the case at all.
Absolutely
not with this
not.
anemic offense.
That's not what you need, guys.
Correct.
Like if anyone's out there that I want to see the Phillies trade for Tarek Skubal, okay, great. He's a great pitcher. Incredible. You have a better one in Christopher Sanchez right now, but that's beside the point. The problem with this team has not been starting pitching, and it's not going to be this October. Like, you're going to get into a series, and you're going to be able to throw Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, unless anything crazy happens. And, like, if injuries happen, knock on wood, they don't, whatever, we'll revisit. Starting pitching is not the need for this team. They're not going to be in on Skubal. They're not going to make that move. There's no way that happens. There's not a world, right, Johnny?
No, I do not believe that they will be doing that. It'd be great to think about a guy like that.
Yeah, I'd like
Not
him on the
gonna be.
team, but we're not playing MLB The Show here.
Correct.
So I wouldn't get your hopes up, Phillies fans. That's
not happening. The Phillies are not going for another starter. Now, if a big name bat came on the market that they could do, could they empty it? And no, it's not going to be something like Mike Trout. Don't fall for clickbait. Broken down guys that they're not doing that.
We may have
we'll
text
have a
on
different conversation on the Mike Trout
not
stuff.
Not broken down guys. Wonder why his body broke down so young.
Guy's still pretty good.
It's amazing.
But no Tarek Skubal. I think we're all on the same page. John Marks just sent a text, and he's on the same page as we are with this
One can dream.
Tarek Skubal conversation.
That's not happening.
Hey, I appreciate you bringing it up. I think Buster Olney's crazy there to consider the Phillies. But as we start the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to bring in Amy Fadul, who is anything but crazy. She is the voice of reason today for us, and we need to know what's the number one thing she wants to see this summer from Philadelphia sports. Is it in line with what John and I had to say earlier? We will talk to Amy coming up next, and we'll get a reaction on a historic stretch for Christopher Sanchez. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Are we heading to a lockout? I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association, introducing a salary floor and a salary cap. 15 teams this season are currently under the proposed floor, and 6 teams are above the salary cap, including the Phillies by about $36 million. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on what could happen if baseball goes on strike in 2027. Well, he goes on to say that they could be losing some fans because people will find another place to go. And the last time the owners wanted a salary cap, that was in 1994. The players went on strike, and the 94 World Series was canceled. Phils, they're back in action today, though, after the day off. Phils take on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phillies, and first pitch is at 10:15. Tonight's game is on Apple TV. The Eagles are back at practice today for the OTAs. We'll keep you updated on any news out of South Philly. And the NBA Board of Governors passed new anti-tanking rules. The lottery will change from 14 to 16 teams, and the bottom 3 teams will be punished with lower lottery odds. Amy Fadul joins us next, and Jeff Kerr joins us at 9:30. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Well, welcome into the program, Miss Amy Fadul.
Hello. Good morning. Happy Friday.
It is, isn't it? Beautiful weather, the summer getting going, and we're very excited to have you with us, as we always are. Not just because we're going to do, in the final segment of today's show, Ask Me Amy thing, which you can start sending questions in, as we always do. But we had a question to start the show today about the number one thing that you want to see in Philadelphia sports this summer. By the way, if you're thinking Andrew Salciunas sounds a little under the weather today, I'm Connor Thomas in for Andrew.
Sound different.
He'll be back on Tuesday. John Kincade to my left, as always. And the parameters of this are pretty loose. Like, just Philadelphia sports has a lot of big things happening. And Philadelphia, the sports scene in general.
Yes.
I know you're well aware of the World Cup coming here, the All-Star festivities in Major League Baseball. So we can open it to wherever your mind goes. But the number one thing that you would want to see, with some sense of realism, in Philadelphia sports this summer.
Be realistic, Amy.
Is what?
A right-handed power bat?
I don't think. I love hearing that answer. That's a great answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
I'm out there. I'm like hesitation. I'm like, oh, I hope Steve thinks it's a good answer.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah, I feel like that's been something that we have not seen for a bit, and I would enjoy to have some reliability on that side of the dish for me.
Very interesting. Now, we've had a texter who said that already. I don't disagree with you. That would change the entire structure of the Phillies lineup.
Yeah, because I feel like they get kind of hemmed in a lot trying to do, certain left, right. I mean, sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes you have to go left, left, left. But I would get a little bit more variety on that one.
Yeah, I think that's also been on the wish list for the past 5 summers.
Exactly.
So I don't know if we'll see an effective one, but John went somewhere different, and I'm surprised a little bit that you didn't go here. His number one want was to find a trade partner to move off the Joel Embiid contract.
You said realistic, right?
Yeah, they see now. It's funny is the little smirk that you gave me there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the truth. I mean,
I feel like that's there to move off, and I probably wouldn't hem it in with just one. I would say one of the big contracts. I feel like you need to move off one of those. So realistically, that would be something.
As long as one's gone by October, I feel good that they're at least taking a step forward towards fixing this.
Yeah, I would think you need to move off one of those big contracts. I don't need, you can pick which one. I think that there's some nuance to that one because there's a thought that Joel Embiid is more movable as a player because of the viability you could sell on people of like, hey, you get maybe 50 games and you're going to get really good 50 games because at his best, he's a 40-point player. Even at his not so best, he's a 25-point player. So you get that aspect. He is a very, one of the best players when he's healthy. Of course, there's that caveat. The Paul George sell is you're trying to sell them on what you saw in the Celtics series. That's your tape right there. That's your reel that you're sending out to them. As far as like a realistic thing, yeah, I mean, I think if you try to move off one of them, I probably would have said, I guess I wouldn't have agreed just with Joel Embiid because I don't know that it's just realistic to focus on one. But I get what John's saying. I think that that's definitely something that I think that's going to be on a lot of people's wish list.
You'd rather have that right-handed power bat, though?
I would. I
think there's a lot of people that would probably say that.
Well, it's top of mind, right? I don't think where we're at right now, even though we've got one heck of a Game 7 coming up in the Western Conference Finals. I know you're geared up for that, Amy.
Sucked, though.
Well, there've been a couple like stinkers.
Yeah, I think 3 of them have stunk.
Which is so unusual because the first game was
amazing.
You thought, wow, we're going overtime every single game. It was double overtime. And the second game was a good game, too. And then the rest of them have been kind of like, really?
I'm glad it was like that because to me, that guarantees that we're getting a classic.
Yeah, I knew the Spurs were going to win. I thought it was going to be a little bit hard fought. But yeah, I was like, well, the Spurs are not going down like this. They're not going to roll over at home. It's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, though, the Sixers, they did do that. So maybe the right-handed power bat and the idea on the Phillies, they're the currently active team.
Yeah.
So if a lot of people go there because they're top of mind. And we're going to talk about Christopher Sanchez. We haven't had you in since that special moment that we got on Wednesday out in San Diego. Like, we're going to get all of your thoughts on that because I know you've been talking about it a lot. Special thing. But maybe more realistic for the Sixers. I wonder if this even crossed your mind when I asked you that question.
We're asking her a lot about realism this morning.
We are. We're trying to keep it based in reality. Would a better focus maybe be the next president of basketball operations? Do you have a wish list? Did that cross your mind of I need this guy?
I mean, I feel like I don't know that there have been names that have thrown out there, but I think I remember I was on here right after it happened, and it was, my thought was you're going to try to find a young executive that you could kind of mold into who you want him to be, that's an up-and-comer and on a winning team. And I remember I said at the time in the playoffs, obviously we're still a lot more teams active. I was like somebody from the Thunder or somebody from the Spurs. The Spurs, I don't know. I feel like they keep a lot of their hires in-house. So I don't know that you're going to be able to hire one of their players away. But you look for winning cultures. I don't think that that's a big the Warriors, obviously,
What's Brett Brown doing these days?
Yeah, Bob Myers is working for Brett Brown's still there hanging out in San Antonio. But, I mean, the Heat, I think that these are like cultures that you're looking for, young executives trying to find the next big guy. Bob Myers, his background is tremendous, hugely successful out there in the Warriors, building that dynasty because it really was a dynasty, recognizing young talent, making the contracts work, all of those things. So for him to be leading this, and AKA, I think, being a huge hand in what the Sixers are going to do in the offseason, he's almost going to be acting in that role. And I'd imagine whoever they bring in, he'll be helping them act in that role. I don't want to say he's going to be doing the job per se, but I think he's going to be a very large part of it because that's his background. I mean, I know that his official title is President of Sports, which is my favorite title I've ever heard. And so he covers everything with the Harris Blitzer Sports Group. But I think that you would think he's going to lean heavy into this one and finding a younger executive. I don't mean just necessarily in age. I just mean in the business that's been kind of part of a strong culture, a winning culture. So you're looking at teams like the Thunder, the Spurs, the Heat.
See, what I'm hearing here, Johnny, I want to know if you hear this as well. I'm hearing a level of faith that Amy has in the Bob Myers process for bringing in the next president of basketball operations. I don't know that the fan base feels that way right now, and maybe they should. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it sounds to me like you have a high level of faith in them getting this as right as they can.
Well, I feel like the one thing that I appreciated is that they were like, here's a guy, and I think I've said this before, I always recognize the mark of a good leader is recognizing that you don't know it all and you can't do it all. And whatever your shortcomings are, you start hiring people that can do those things. Harris Blitzer, they run a lot of companies very well. We all know that. The amount of money that they've made, the investments that they've had, they're recognizing we need somebody that's with basketball knowledge to help clean this up. We have one in-house that has many championships with the Warriors. 4. So it's like, why wouldn't we go lean on this guy? And there's nothing in Bob Myers' history that's going to tell you that he is a failed executive, that he is not a guy that's going to be successful. There's nothing about the way that he helped the Warriors win all of those titles that you thought, I don't know about this guy. I mean, he was consistent, consistently winning, consistently building a team, and they really, for lack of a better expression, they rebuilt the way that teams are going to be built. And I mean that in that positionless basketball. And he was a big part of that. That's one of the first times. And I know everybody talks about how Steph changed the game. Steph did change the game with a 3-point, but the way that I go back to something LeBron said when they lost to them the first time. That's a full team. They don't have guys that just play center, that just play forward, that just play center and point guard. It was a positionless basketball, and that was like in 2014, I feel like. I'd have to look that up, but it's in that earlier time, and they were one of the first teams that people realized like it doesn't matter that your forward handles the ball all the time. It doesn't matter that your center is going to be your leading assist man. When you look at the Nuggets. It's one of those things that everybody kind of started taking a look and be like, all right, well, maybe you can play different roles. And he was at the forefront of that. He was their general manager and their president of basketball ops during that. So I think that when I look at his history, there's nothing about what he's done and built that would lead me to believe that he's going to be like, well, you know what? We're just going to – everything's fine. Everything's fine here. I do not think he's going to be hands up. Everything's fine.
Do you believe, though, the one thing that scares me is that they're – I don't have a problem with him hiring like a protege type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I know he's still driving and the protege is sitting shotgun being
I feel like
trained.
That's going to happen.
So you do believe that.
I do feel like
you're so close to this, it really helps to hear that.
I feel like I would think that, and I don't mean that as they're going to hire someone they don't have confidence in.
Yes, but no, somebody that can
right.
be
I feel like it's
along.
somebody that if you want to set someone up for success, you want to have them, you want to show them the ropes. That in any kind of position like that, you're not going to hand over the keys to a $1 billion franchise with millions of dollars. I mean, we all know that the numbers, the players that they have, 40 million, 54, and 56. I mean, these are all players that are huge, huge contracts. You're not going to hand over the keys to a franchise like that has championship expectations and a roster that's paid like one as far as the starters go, and go like, hey, good luck.
Yeah, the Preston Mattingly to his Dave Dombrowski. I know how people feel about Dombo, but
like Preston though has been.
Yeah, we're all like, well,
it's
the idea, not the people.
Right. I can't wait to see Preston one day take over.
Yeah,
but Preston has gotten to, no matter what anybody thinks about Dave Dombrowski, I guarantee you Preston would tell you he's benefited big time from working with him.
Right. And I think that's something that's really important when you're looking at executive, kind of hierarchy and the way that the whole tree will go down and who is reporting to who. There's a lot of lines that are going to go straight across because they're going to try to work together because of that. When they depart, everybody knows what kind of business we're all in, right? You know what kind of business this is. Guys can get fired at the drop of a hat, even if you have a winning pedigree. And so I think they want to make sure you set them up for success when they do move on, whether it's for their choice or the team's choice.
Now, of course, a lot of people have heard this question, and some Eagles fans may have thought, hey, the number one thing I want is for this A.J. Brown situation to be over.
But it's going to be over.
So
summer officially starts, June 21st? It'll be long done by then.
But what do you think about the
we heard her answer.
Return for A.J. Brown? Is there something where maybe you say it has to be this? We had this conversation earlier about the drop dead point for an A.J. Brown return. Like if I don't get a first, whether it's 27 or 28, I'm not doing it. Do you have that line?
First of all, I think the deal's probably close to already done. I don't know. And I say that just because it's been talked about so long. I feel like it's going to be one of those things. We have that legal tampering period and the free agency starts, and it's a magical thing. All these contracts got decided in 60 seconds, and some of those are not even during the illegal tampering period. But yeah, I feel like in my mind, I would hope that the Eagles and I have, again, here's an executive that you have full faith in because he's never shown you. I shouldn't say never. He hasn't recently shown you the inability to turn things around when they needed to be in Howie Roseman, right? Howie Roseman has had very, very, very few missteps, and you'd have to go back years at this point to look for them. I feel like the setup for them is we're going to need a first, not just because of the return for losing. And that was the one thing that I appreciate all the coach speak that the players gave. Saquon Barkley, I thought, gave a great answer on A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts gave exactly what I thought he was going to give. But to try to say that things are not going to be different when you're losing a perennial 1,000-yard receiver is just laughable. You have to acknowledge that. And I thought Saquon did a good job of acknowledging that at least. Give me that. Stop it. What are we doing? But not only for the actual return because you're losing a 1,000-yard receiver who's always 1,000 yards, and we can't remember the last time the Eagles had a perennial 1,000-yard receiver. We can't because you can't name him because he doesn't exist. Also, the optics of it. This has been going on for so long. If you don't get the highest return, you can't just be we tried. No, you haven't tried. You've been talking about trading this guy for over a year, well over a year. I mean, it was even 2 years ago, it was kind of hey, maybe they'll move on from A.J. Brown. So it at least a calendar year plus at this point. The optics of it to not get a first-round pick, I think, would be pretty bad. Not to mention the fact that you actually need it back because you're losing one of the best receivers in the game.
I think that's all very fair. That's essentially where we landed on it when we were talking about it earlier today, and we'll see how quickly that deal comes down. Monday is June 1st.
Monday,
so.
I'll be at work at 10 a.m. in case there's any breaking news.
Well, you'll be listening to us in the morning because we're going to be.
I'll be listening on my way.
We're going to be breaking
to work.
it. 6:40 in the morning is when Adam Schefter joins us on Monday, and he's going on a golf trip Tuesday and Wednesday that he's scheduled with his buddies. Does that tell you anything? As someone you're in a career much closer to what Adam does than we are. The fact that
one's in the stratosphere.
But the fact that Adam scheduled a golf trip for Tuesday and Wednesday to golf during the day.
Yeah, for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Does that sort of tell you that he knows that?
It's so funny because you read certain articles and they'll say after June 1st. I'm like, no. It's on or after June 1st, like that. And I know there was the smoke about there's another, team has entered the chat. We heard some rumors about Jacksonville. And then there was there's another AFC team.
Always a mystery team.
Well, the mystery team drives up the price. I do think the price is probably pretty set. If I'm the Eagles, you've known that price for a while. I'm not saying it's definitive, but I imagine the range of the price is pretty set and has been for months and
so
months at this point.
Howie's not the kid that's got a project due in school, and the night before he's coming up talking to his mom saying, "Hey, I need a glue stick and I need colored pencils and all this stuff." That was me all the time.
You got to get that trifold poster somewhere.
A really good student. A really good
Bane of my
student. Connor,
existence.
great student. And he did that crap. I can't imagine.
I was a smart student. I don't know that I'd say I was a great student.
You did?
There
too?
were weak
I worked
spots.
better under pressure.
Yeah,
I would not
agree.
have thought that about you. I would have thought
It's so
you were...
weird because I'm not that way at all. I'm a huge planner. I get everything done. I like to plan things for months out. But for whatever reason, schoolwork, I
would have
say
thought
this,
you were...
kids, if you're
wow.
listening, school is important. But I found no point in doing work like that.
And you did better cramming the night before, cramming it in. Wow. I
did too. I don't know.
can't say my art projects or whatever, my trifold
Well,
posters were the
please.
best.
Yeah, exactly.
My
I
poor
did
mom was having to go whatever, get film developed back in the day or print pictures.
Back in the photo mat?
We'd have to go
Did you have to go to one of them in the middle of the parking lot,
we'd
in
just
my
go,
age group?
You go to the CVS to print the
yeah.
pictures or whatever.
See, we used to have to drive to the middle of parking lots. There was a photo mat.
Oh, see, I don't
See,
know
you
if I
even
remember
those.
that.
They used to have these
Maybe I was
little...
in elementary school.
They used to have these little...
Well,
stands.
Like a stand, like a standalone
Yeah, they had a
little
stand.
box.
They had a box that would be in the middle of a supermarket
remember
parking
that.
lot, and you would drop off the film at a drive-in in the middle of a parking lot.
And then a week later, you'd get it?
You get it 3 days later.
I think they closed all those down after
I
the
was
war.
at least in the advent of the 1 hour printing. You could go to whatever Staples or Kinko's or wherever and print stuff right away.
I'm going to get a picture of one of these. You'll never believe that they used to
24-hour
be.
Kinko's was
They used to be right in the
lifesaver
middle
for
of
me.
parking lots.
Well, I don't think Howie Roseman's going to need one to
No.
figure out the A.J. Brown situation, but we'll be watching that closely. Now, Amy, I don't need to do anything to set this next topic up besides just say a name to you. Christopher Sanchez.
Oh, my gosh.
Your thoughts?
I was lucky enough to do the game before where we were talking about how he was, staring down history. And I don't think I realized, what he was looking at and how old those numbers. So, because we ran the board, the graphic that said, here's where they stand right now as far as scoreless inning streak for the Phillies. And you saw Grover, Cleveland Alexander, which I still contend the man's name was just probably Cleveland, and they're like, you got to put the Grover up on there.
Yeah, have to.
You got to put Grover.
Come on, Grover.
Because the president. And then they had Sanchi, and then Cliff Lee's on there twice, by the way, which is wild. And I thought, wow, this is some really, really rarefied air. And then there's also the streak of pitchers just in all of baseball that had no earned runs in an entire calendar month with at least 5 starts, which is an even shorter list, no surprise. And that's all of baseball. And he is when he got it, when we were watching it, because you just knew he was going to get it. And then he started off so strong, and I was like, oh my gosh! At what point does he realize it's not perfect game, kind of don't talk to me stuff, but it is kind of in that realm of don't look at him.
You had Bohm with the error. You had the throwing error by Bryce.
Yeah.
And and remember that ends the streak.
It looked like
if it's an unearned run, it ends the streak.
You could kind of feel that they were tight to start that game. And he didn't have his best stuff, and Don Mattingly talked after.
First inning, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know if he was thinking about it at all, but it's an incredible accomplishment. And you were just listing off some of the things. Jason Stark talked on Unfiltered yesterday about some of the cool nuggets of this Sanchez streak. Here's what he had to say.
But this scoreless streak of Christopher Sanchez, it's even more historic than we even knew. I dug in on this today. This is not just the longest scoreless inning streak in Phillies history. It's not just the third longest streak by a left-handed pitcher since 1900, which is what I posted yesterday. It turns out this is actually the longest as a starting pitcher only by any left-handed pitcher in the live ball era. Now, the longest streak period still belongs to Carl Hubble, 1933, 45 and a third. But it turns out Carl Hubble, 2 of his innings came out of the bullpen during that streak, which means only 43 and a third of it came as a starter. What's that mean, boys? It means Christopher Sanchez, his streak, is the longest ever by a left-handed starter in the live ball era, which means it's getting more legendary literally every day.
Jason Stark always has great deep dives into what the numbers actually mean, and he'll find those stats from way back. So actually, the longest by a left-handed pitcher in the live ball era. It's insane to think about what he's doing right now. And from what we've seen, it doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon.
Let's rewind for a second. Let's go back to the very first series of the year, and he's coming back, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know, Sanchez. He doesn't look so good." That was a sentence that we said out loud.
The first couple outings,
I know.
he wasn't
We
his
said
best.
those sentences out loud.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should go back and hit ourselves.
We should.
Because we were like, well, I hope it's going to turn out okay. Hope he can get back
Hope
up.
he's okay.
Is he okay? Is he okay?
And
he
people
okay?
get
Like, what's
hyperbolic with these types of stretches. You see something special in a single season or one of these stretches of a season, and everyone's like, what does it mean?
Because he did struggle a little bit comparatively, compared to what we expect from him, I should say.
Yeah.
And the worry was you're still waiting for Wheeler to come back. Can you get to May if your ace is struggling? Struggling for Christopher Sanchez was like, ooh, 3 earned runs. What are we going to do? But he didn't look. His velocity was down a little bit to start the season. His location was a little bit off, so he was walking some guys. There's a couple earned runs. It lasted, I think, maybe 3 starts, maybe 2.5 starts, and then to see where his ERA is now is wild to think about.
Yeah,
it's
and
wild.
The names on the Phillies list were interesting because you mentioned Cliff Lee. Ranger Suarez is one of the
Rangers
top
on
4,
there, yeah.
like Grover Cleveland Alexander from way back in 1911. They're really good pitchers. But when you look at where he's at now all time and you start to look at the Hershiser record, all those guys up there are like, you're talking Hall of Fame level arms. This is not just, hey, a guy lucked it. You'll see somebody throw a no-hitter or maybe even a perfect game where there are these outliers. There aren't really outliers on that list. I'm not saying Christopher Sanchez Hall of Fame, give him this plaque now.
Right,
but
exactly.
That's the company that you keep when you do something like this.
But you look at what he did last year. You look at even 2 years ago, certainly last year, and then now this year. That's what you're talking about. You're looking at, yes, this is a phenomenal run he's on. But he's been a consistently top-tier pitcher for 3 seasons going now.
Yeah, it's 3 seasons now.
So, that's when you're talking about hyperbole, people are like, oh, it's just because he's really good right now. Like, yeah, he is really good right now, a.k.a. the best pitcher in baseball right now. But then you also look at last year and you look at the year before and you're thinking, all right, those were also some really, really good years, Cy Young type of seasons. So I feel like that's when you're looking at, and when we're talking about this kind of like really good run he's on, we're not just pointing out to, 11 starts. We're pointing out to 3 seasons. And that's where there's really good feelings and good vibes going in.
Is there any chance that you get Sanchez, Wheeler back-to-back in the All-Star game?
Yeah, that's always interesting.
Could.
I would think that,
Skeens will be in the mix. Mizorowski will be in the mix, but
I think they'll give a little one. First of all, they should both be in there.
Yes.
Just regardless of anything else.
But it's a Philly game.
Exactly. I think they do have a little bit of, kind of like, we're going to defer to you guys on what you want. There's always deference when it comes to the All-Star game with the best teams because they know that these guys are then going to be going for the playoffs and whatever else, so they don't want to mess anything up for them. So there's always conversations with the managers across baseball. That's always happened. But I think especially because it's in Philadelphia, the Phillies will get a little bit of a bump because of that. And if they want to do something fun for the fans, they're going to do it.
Because right now, Zach has to get a few more starts in to be able to get into because he's got 6 or 7 starts. Either 6 or 7.
6, I believe.
He's got to get a few more starts to get to where his stats count, I guess, towards the
qualifying, but he could still be an all-star.
He could still be an all-star.
Mizorowski made it last year on 2 innings pitched
exactly.
or whatever
But
it was.
to me, though, I do wonder about the 2 of them. Because right now, there's no question Sanchez is the
It would be
starter.
great to see Sanchez start and then he hands the ball off to Wheeler type of vibe.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's what they would love to do. The All-Star game is cinema.
Right.
Yes, it's a game and whatever else. And does it have meaning? Sure. But it's cinema. And this one's going to be cinema for a lot of different reasons because of the 250th birthday and all the other fun stuff. But they're going to have as many Phillies as possible in this game.
And it's going to be here, and it's one of the things that maybe it's on your wish list, top of it, of what you want to see this summer. That's our big topic for the day. The next topic we have is Eagles-related, and we're going to have to take A.J. Brown off the table for it. Outside of what's going on there, what is top of mind with the Birds for Amy Fadul? We find out her answer. And also, this is important for all of us, you out there listening as well. Is the stadium traffic plan getting fixed? Amy, I know you're down there for work every day. I'm sure you wouldn't mind to hear that.
Amy may have been a part of this plan.
John has something coming up on that as well. It is Kincade Salciunas back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A potentially salary cap in the MLB. I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association. There's going to be a salary floor and a salary cap. 15 teams this season are currently under the proposed floor, and 6 teams are currently above the salary cap, including the Phillies by $36 million. The last time the owners wanted a salary cap was 94. The players went on strike, and the 94 World Series was canceled. Phillies are back in action today after the day off. They will take on the Dodgers in LA. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phils, and first pitch is at 10:15. Tonight's game is on Apple TV. The Eagles are back on the practice field today for OTAs. We'll keep you updated on any news from South Philly, and the NBA Board of Governors passed new anti-tanking rules. The lottery will change from 14 to 16 teams, and the bottom 3 teams will be punished with lower odds. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
faces, check out youtube.com/975 The Fanatic Philadelphia. More of Kincade Salciunas coming your way now.
No,
Mike's
you're
not on.
You're not.
Something's wrong with your mic.
He's taking A.J. Brown off the table.
I don't know what it is, Connor, because your mic is up and on.
No, it's when fiddle with your mic again because it keeps clicking earlier.
Oh, no.
Can you talk now?
Do you want to come over here and use this
It's
one?
not working. Try to fiddle with it. Fiddle with this
Why don't
connection.
you come over here?
Fiddle with that connection. There it is. It's disconnected. See, it happened the other day to John Marks on Middays with Marks. Sean said it was the best segment of the show. I thought I was a little hostile.
It seemed a little bit.
A little hostile.
A little aggressive.
Yeah, how about now? There it is.
Hey.
Now, you see, though, I had noticed you fiddling with the mic today.
Don't
That
touch
just
it.
moves a little. I
You've been-
can't
no.
touch it
Don't touch
once.
it.
You've been touching the mic today because I've heard the little.
Yeah.
Don't touch the mic. There's
Maybe
no
I'm getting
reason for you to
traded
touch
next,
it.
just like AJ. Okay.
You're not Elvis.
Now that we have the microphones worked out, the Eagles, hopefully they're going to have their offseason run a lot smoother than that. Amy, I'm interested because A.J. Brown has become such a big part of the conversation. The main focus, not just for the Eagles, but with the NFL right now. With June 1st on Monday, that's where everyone's mind's going to go first. But there's a lot that this team has that they've got to take care of this offseason to gear up for a really big season. So if I take the A.J. Brown conversation off the table, what's your number one focus, or what I put down on the show sheet here was number one concern with the Eagles right now? Just went through the first part of OTAs over the week. Where does your mind go?
The safety position.
Thank you.
That's where it goes.
Thank you. That's me too.
I don't know why we're thanking people because it gives me great anxiety.
Yeah. Thank you for agreeing
Thank you
with
for
me.
giving me the. Thank you for
the
giving me
concern.
anxiety. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, concern's probably too strong of a word. I don't ever use like big words like that because concern to me, I'm like, am I concerned? I have some questions. I would say I'm questioning that. Makuba coming back. You hope that he's going to be, in good health and ready to hit the ground running because in 11 games last year he showed you that he, is a very good player. 46 tackles. I thought he did a really nice job, and then the ankle injury, cut the season short. On the other side, I know when we heard from Fangio, he said in certain base defense, you'll have Cooper, DeJean back there in that safety role in that certain look defense. But that's not an everyday look, an every down look, I should say. So then Fangio was asked that, and he said, well, Marcus Epps is the guy right now. And he kind of said it like that, and I was like, oh.
Doesn't make you feel great, does it?
The thing that I enjoy about Vic Fangio, one of the things I enjoy about Vic Fangio is his honesty. There is a very good amount of transparency, I think a healthy amount of transparency when he comes to talking about these things. When he says a player's name, I always say, like, it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. If you hear your name coming out of that man's mouth, you better be on high alert because he's generally probably talking to you about, hey, this is how you need to get better. And he doesn't mince words usually when he comes to talking about those type of players that he expects a lot more from. I think that said to me, like, it's Epps' job right now. It's Epps' job to lose is kind of how I read that. Like, he's a guy that he's expecting to step up. We've heard that phrasing before many, many times, certainly in the defense over the last couple of years that Fangio has been here, the expectations he has for those players and what he needs to see from them. He has certain check marks that he needs to see from these players in order to feel confident to put them out there in that role, especially in the secondary. Secondary is so strong. The cornerbacks are that's the best trio in the NFL. I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to have an argument for that, for those three right there.
I mean, 2 first-team All-Pros.
You just don't see that. You haven't seen that for years across the board around the league. So I feel like the safety is one thing that I'm like, okay. John Campbell's another guy I want to see take that next step. I really like him. I'm pretty high on him. I'm probably higher on him than maybe some folk out there. So I don't have as many concerns with the linebacking that we've had in the years past. I think that's a pretty solid unit. But for me, safety was the first thing that jumped out. I was just like, just because of the way I've heard Fangio talk and the fact that there's players coming back that you don't know exactly what they're going to be.
I think that's very fair. The Jihad Campbell thing's interesting. He'll become a bigger part of the conversation, I think, as the offseason goes along. Like letting Nakobe Dean go, we knew that was coming because of the injury stuff, and we wish him the best in Vegas, and we'll see how that plays out.
And he didn't choose the Cowboys.
Yeah, which we'll love him forever.
And by the way, I did hear a story that the Cowboys, from my boys in Dallas who do morning radio in Dallas, the Cowboys reportedly offered more.
I've heard there's a couple over the years. You hear those stories every now and again that the Cowboys offered more, and people are just like,
the Cowboys offered more, and he went to Vegas.
Good on him.
Bear Brooks has a story like that. Like, it wasn't like a significant more, but it was $200,000 more for Bear. And he's like, $200,000 more. He's just like, I couldn't do it.
How much is your soul worth?
He's like, he couldn't do it.
Two no-tax states. So
I think he went to Detroit.
He was choosing. He was choosing between two no-tax states. So it was he's
state
choosing
income
between,
tax.
So he's choosing between Texas and Nevada, keeping that even.
They still tax them.
But I think he decided that the chance to go to Vegas and be part of building something over the chance of going to Dallas and having potentially his Philly legacy.
Well, I think also
touched.
Some folks feel some kind of way about facing their former team all the time. And if you go to
he loved
division,
his Philly legacy.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. I don't know. You never really know.
Now, does this feel silly? Because you could have gone anywhere with that, and we agree with you on the safety thing. Like, that's my number one place. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's one position on a Vic Fangio-led defense that has been as solid can be since he's been here.
I don't know if it's one. It's the
one
whole
position,
safety
group,
right? It's not one dude; it's the whole group. There's a little bit of a.
Meanwhile, on the other side, they're doing a near 180 for the entire offensive side of the ball, scheme-wise, with Sean Mannion, and it seems silly when you put those up against each other that safety would be where someone's mind goes first, and it's where mine goes. So I'm not blaming you, but are you confident in what you've heard so far about the Sean Mannion offense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question would be, the position group, do I feel more confident about the offensive position groups than I do about the safety position group? So that's what I kind of weighed. I have confidence in Jalen Hurts. I don't waver in that. There's nothing that I look at. Again, when I go back to what we're talking about with the Sixers, I go back in the history. We had this conversation with our 11-year-old, and people should record some of these conversations and the things that he says. But he just loves to talk about, like, comparisons. And that's what a lot of the kids do. They're like, he's the greatest, and rank everybody. You have to rank everybody at all time. I was like, I don't know. So, of course, I get completely called out for my quarterback rankings for whatever reason. And he's just like, well, do you think, because we were down in Baltimore for the Orioles game, he's like, do you think Lamar Jackson's a top 10 quarterback? I think Lamar Jackson's a very good quarterback. The question was, would I rather have Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson? And I said Jalen Hurts, to which I was roundly roasted by
you're the
several
pro.
people.
You got to take ownership.
Well, I wasn't roasted necessarily by my own table, but I said that out loud in Baltimore, and there was other patrons who were like, what? And I was like, oh, my God.
Really? So in Baltimore you were roasted for that?
Because they thought Lamb Jackson should be absolute. Lamb Jackson's like the top 5 quarterback, blah, blah, blah.
Because I hear he gets a lot of
Two-time
disrespect,
MVP.
That I hear that he gets a lot of disrespect from some. There's factions.
Well, Pratt Street Ale House.
It was not a Platt Street Ale House.
lot of fans. I mean, I think that they're hard on him because he doesn't have the best postseason record, but no, they know that he's they believe he is a top 5 quarterback. Personally, I think when I go through, and I had this conversation there, and I was like, there's a lot of metrics that I use to judge a quarterback, and for right or wrong, I think being a winner is a quality that you can possess, just like being a loser is a quality you can possess. And I don't mean that loser like you don't get up in the morning and look at you're lazy or whatever.
Yeah.
But you just don't have that winning quality. You don't have that ability to be a winner. And I think you can be the opposite of that, which is
a loser. And you feel that way about Jalen Hurts, and that makes the offense a little bit more comfortable.
I think he has that winning quality. I think there's certain things that you look at and you're like, well, I wish he was, because the guy, Lamar's a better runner. Cool. That's not a metric that I would use.
Lamar doesn't have a bright lights quality that Jalen has.
I just think that there's something to that. I think there's certain players in every sport that step up when the moment is the biggest.
Well, guess what? He's got a big moment this year because he's going to have to step up with a different style of offense than we've seen him run. Without a number 1 wide receiver in A.J. Brown. Now, Devontae can step into that role. But there's a lot that Jalen Hurts is going to have to answer questions on this year with his play. I'm glad you guys have that faith in him. I think the majority of Eagles fans should. But it's still fair to ask questions.
It is. I
don't think everybody's thinking all right, well, Jalen's back and there's no A.J. Brown, but we're still going to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any of that.
If you don't ask questions, then you're just being pie in the sky. You're being a homer.
But your head's in the sand.
Correct.
Yes.
That's good.
Now, we'll get into that
pie
stadium.
In the sky. sky
Pie in
and
the
sand.
sky.
Either
Head in
way.
the sand, pie in the
We're all over the
sky.
place. It's the beach time. What's
Wherever
happening?
you're at is, you got to be asking questions about the quarterback of the Eagles. We'll get into that stadium traffic plan coming up. We also have a fan interest conversation that came out of John's event last night with the Flyers Roundtable and what he
We had
saw
a good time
there.
last night.
So a little interaction with some fans and how it affects the way we're viewing teams in this city. We'll talk about that next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. And I got to tell you guys about Kalshi. Listen, I'm not used to being in the studio and here. I'm also not used to seeing the world's biggest soccer tournament on U.S. soil. Are you kidding me? It's arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. So if you believe, like one of our texters earlier on in the show said, his biggest wish was for the U.S. of A. to win it all. If you think that's going to happen, well, I got good news for you. They're trading at 1% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade pays out $6,236 if they win soccer's biggest prize. Now, if you want to go with someone who's trading a little bit better, the favorite right now is Spain, followed by France, and then England. But whoever you want to trade on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position whenever you want. So for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code FANATIC. That's code FANATIC to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi. That's Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
The NHL Stanley Cup. Salciunas, Philly Sports Talk, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
A very interesting conversation on fan focus in the city is what John Kincade has for us. I'm Connor Thomas in for Andrew Salciunas. Amy Fadul in studio with us for the remainder of the show. And, John, you were out with John Marks and Bill Colarulo at the Chickies and Pete's in Marlton for the Flyers Roundtable last night.
Which was a great turnout. We thank Bet Parks for, putting on the event. We thank the folks at Chickies in Marlton. What a great spot.
It is a beautiful, really nice one.
They had all the window, the big doorways open and everything last night, like the fresh air. It was unbelievable.
Beautiful day, beautiful weather. It's a beautiful time for Flyers fans, too, because the interest is renewed. But you had a takeaway about the comparison between where Flyers fandom is and Sixers fandom.
Yeah, I wonder, and I really wanted to. I'm glad you did this when Amy's in. Because last night it's a bad fishbowl for this because
it's a Flyers event.
From my statistics classes over the years, I would be told
this is not a random sampling.
It's not a random sampling,
no.
So it would not be. But I think if I take it from conversations I've had at the golf course, conversations I've had at station events, conversations I had last night, right now, I think the Sixers have slid into fourth in this city in interest. I think that the Flyers – now, look, the Flyers have the very easy chance of sliding right back into fourth. The Eagles clearly have the town's primary interest, with the Phillies firmly in second. But I think the Flyers have moved ahead as far as just chatter, interest, positivity over the Sixers. And right now, I sort of feel that is a secure opinion.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree.
Okay.
Because the metrics will probably say otherwise. I'd have to pull up because I can,
Sure.
You can look at like actual things about like clicks on articles and all the other nonsense kind of stuff. But I feel like that's
not nonsense though.
Yeah,
that's actual.
I feel
data.
like that's like stuff.
Sure.
That you can point to, Sixers-centric podcasts versus Flyers-centric podcasts, viewership. You can look at some actual numbers. Do they always tell the story? I mean, they tell a good portion of it.
I like data, so I would lean on those. Like, to me, I would believe those things a lot.
I think that the feeling that you get, though, is that there's more interest because it's more positive feeling.
Yeah, it's the excitement versus the attention. The excitement is certainly
they both lost in the second round, right? And
they both got swept.
Yeah, but it felt wildly different.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Right? If the numbers are the exact same. You played 4 games. You didn't win a 1, but it felt completely different. You had the coach, Brendan Moore on the other side being like, you guys are going in the right direction. You feel positive. You had the Knicks being like, oh, is it your building? Cool. It's our building now.
Not a sports town.
Well, that was you guys, you need to keep watching.
Yeah,
you got to watch the Roommates podcast because he really kept going with that. That's a knock on Jalen, and I appreciate their relationship. I know a lot of people don't like those two. I think it's great. I think it's hilarious because there was a moment the other day where they were all 3 up there. It was Mikhail and Josh and Jalen, and they were like, hey, you guys have all won, multiple national championships. And Jalen's like, no, Josh only has 1.
I love
I was like,
if they didn't play for the New York Knicks, I'd love their dynamic, but I cannot, behind a microphone in Philadelphia, say that right now.
But I like that. I just think that's so funny. But anyway, those 2 series felt wildly different. So I think right now the energy you feel is like, the Flyers have a much more positive energy going right now. You feel hopeful. You feel optimistic. When you look at the energy that's surrounding the Sixers, there's concern. There's like, how are you going to get out of this? How are you going to fix this? You don't have that kind of fix this mentality with the Flyers. So while the numbers may skew Sixers-ish as far as like more viewership, more clicks on articles, more listens on podcasts, I think that the vibe is that the Flyers would be third in that regard as far as like the way that the feeling goes. Now, I don't know. I'd have to look up
based
some
on
of the
feelings,
stuff.
it makes a lot of sense, though. Based on feelings.
Right, because you feel good. You feel like positive energy is definitely more of an infectious energy. You feel like you want to share it. Like, oh, my gosh, wasn't that fun? Like, I know they didn't win, but, they were in those games. They were in most of the games with the Hurricanes, who were a dynamic team, such a great team, a Stanley Cup, championship type of team, and they were in there. And you look at the Sixers like, They weren't in with the Knicks.
Yeah, I think
They
that's
had one game that they thought they were going to try to get, and they emptied the clip against them, and it wasn't enough.
That's a really fair evaluation of where I think we're at right now with the hierarchy of the teams. Now, something that would create excitement for any fan of any team in this city would be it being easier to get in and out of the buildings to watch these teams play. So, John, you said something interesting about a traffic plan for the stadiums. What's going on? It seems like they should have fixed it by now. Are they fixing it? Where
they are. This is a good one, and it is finally being solved. Now, here's the bigger story, though, and this is a good little part of the story. Governor Shapiro was announcing the overhaul of the traffic plan around the complex in South Philly. So there are going to be new on and off ramps that are going to be built on. There's going to be a new traffic control center, so now you're going to have more timed lights and things like that. You're also going to have, if you've been to Las Vegas, just to give it an example because people tend to know Las Vegas. If you were looking at Citizens Bank Park and you were looking where Xfinity Live, Stateside Live is right now, that intersection, think of that intersection having 4 canopied walkways.
Mm-hmm.
You will no longer be able to cross on the street.
Thank God.
There ever.
As much fun as that is.
You will not be able to. By the way, you will no longer be able to cross on the street on Broad Street at the subway stations. Yeah. There will now be a wall. There will be a walkway that's going to take you over to FDR. So you will now no longer be. You have people jumping across you, crossing across Broad Street
because
holding up traffic.
For anybody that's been down there, we've all been the people that are walking, and we've all been the people that are driving. And I'm not throwing any judgment on anybody. We've all been there. We've all done it.
And nobody's happy about either side.
We've all done it. We've all crossed against the light. We've all kind of like, well, it's clear now, and you go. When you start doing that, then other people start to do it. There's the group mentality, and then now the cars get all jammed up because they can't go, and they get all angry. And we've all been that person.
Sure.
So I like that solution. It's going to be much better. I don't want people to panic and be like, "What do you mean I can't cross?" It's not like you're can't get to the game.
Ahead. You're going to walk across. You're going to walk across bridges.
Yeah, you're going to be able.
That will also have fences that will go up high.
John's point about Vegas. Anybody that's been out to Vegas, that's how no one crosses the strip. Well, I guess you could.
You can't. No, you can't because you got to like.
Oh, you can
get
run
out of your car.
No, you got to like.
Get out of your car in the middle of it. It would not go well for you.
Right, it doesn't go well for you. But it keeps traffic
flowing. You have
arches.
Yeah, you have arches that go over, and you walk across those. It's much safer for everyone.
Here's the key, though. It's all part of the battery that they're building.
Right.
This is in conjunction with the battery that will be built.
Which is down that way.
You will also get off the subway stations and you could walk totally dry to Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
If you're under
covered walkway.
That'd be great.
Covered walkways.
Yeah, they're
and
not
things
covered
like
in
that.
Vegas because it never rains.
It doesn't rain.
100 degrees all the time.
Philadelphia is so unique that all 4 of their teams play within 10 yards of each other.
And I love it. I'm glad that it did.
Which is amazing. So
I'm glad that it didn't go downtown, even though I wasn't against it if they wanted to do it.
Agreed.
I'm glad they did.
I love that we're all there. It's easy on and off usually, but it does get a little hemmed up. We all remember a couple of years ago where they had like the playoff baseball game. They had the friendly at the link, and it was the home opener of the Flyers, and it was every single parking space in South Philadelphia.
Amy will have a parking space. The governor said Amy will have a dedicated parking space.
We'll get a plaque done and everything.
That's what it says.
Be perfect. All right, coming up next, we'll reset our big topics of the day. And also, on top of the what you want to see in Philadelphia sports, I'm going to ask a Sophie's choice of a question about the number one event, if you could only go to one, of the big worldwide or countrywide events that are coming to Philadelphia this summer in the sports scene. It is Kincade Salciunas, back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A lockout looming. I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association, introducing a salary floor and salary cap in their proposal. 6 teams of their salaries for this season would be above that proposed cap, including the Phillies by $36 million this year. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on what could happen if baseball goes on strike in 2027.
That's something that everybody in baseball should keep in mind if they're thinking they can shut down the sport for a month or 2 or 3 or 6 and people will come back. People learn that there are other things to do in life.
The Phillies, well, they're back in action today after the day off. The Phillies take on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. Zach Wheeler gets the start for the Phils. First pitch is at 10:15. Tonight's game will be on Apple TV. The Eagles are back in the practice field today for OTAs. We'll keep you updated on any news from South Philly. The NBA Board of Governors passed new anti-tanking rules. The lottery will change from 14 to 16 teams, and the three bottom the teams that finish with the worst record, the last three will finish with lower lottery odds starting next season. Jeff Kerr joins us at 9:30, and Amy Fadul's with us until the end of the show. This update's also brought to you by Rheem, thereemteam.com. Unbeatable savings are now with 0% for 60 months with approved credit on select Rheem air conditioners. Hurry to thereemteam.com and lock in your savings today. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Don't worry, we will. But first, let's hear what they got into earlier today on Kincade Salciunas.
If you could pick one thing to see in Philadelphia sports this summer, what would it be? I want to see the Phillies catch the Braves in the NL East by the time this summer is over, so that when we get to September, we're looking at a division race. It could be something with one of the teams in the offseason that is rebuilding, like the Sixers are continuing a lengthy rebuild, and the Flyers, a transaction. It could be something that you want to see A.J. Brown related, or with the development of Sean Mannion's offense for the Eagles.
I don't care if the Phillies catch the Braves, because I've seen the Phillies be a wild card team, sneak into the playoffs, go to the World Series Game 6, go to the NLCS Game 7. I know that when October comes, got Sanchez and Wheeler and Duran pitching well, I got a shot. The only franchise in town, to me, that has no path is the Sixers. The only way that path can begin to be cleared is if one of the major obstacles is cleared. I think Paul George is more tradable. If Joel Embiid's contract was able to be traded, that would be my move.
Let's talk a little bit about the Titans as well. You were very confident, Johnny, heading into this West Coast swing.
They always sort of show up.
Yeah.
They tend to play their best ball.
Unless it's Arizona.
I really thought they were going to answer the bell.
Well, so far you've been right. They won their first 3 out in the California.
So now they
swing.
only got to go 3-3 the rest of the way in the next 6 games because the 3 they play with San Diego. It was the San Diego sandwich with the Dodgers in the middle, and I thought they would go 6-3 in that stretch. I did not think they'd sweep San Diego.
No, I didn't either. And I only needed to see them win 5 of the 9 games. Just go above 500 on this stretch.
And you'd be happy with it.
Now back to the show.
So that's what we've been getting into today. Andrew Salciunas with the next couple of days off. He'll be back in on Tuesday. So I'm Connor Thomas filling in. John Kincade to my left and Amy Fadul in studio with us. Amy's first pick was a right-handed power bat for what she wanted to see. The Phillies acquire one over the course of, and we're using summer as more of a liberal term, basically looking at what's coming in the next 3 to 4 months for the Philadelphia sports scene. You can chime in on that on the phone line and the text line, 610-632-0975. Now, we went away for a little bit there because we were having some fun conversation. But what do we have on the text line for what fans want to see this summer, Sean?
Yeah, we have a couple people checking in, some more personal as well. One person checking in saying that I'm excited to see the All-Star game. I'm going with my daughter and my wife, and it's going to be a great time.
That's a great pick and a great transition into what we're getting into.
Awesome experience. An All-Star game is fantastic. I've been to 2. Absolutely amazing.
I'm going to make you pick, though, here. So there are 3, as I see it, and all due respect to, like, the Futures game and some other, like, maybe concerts or something. There are 3 major events that are going to be happening in Philadelphia this summer. You've got the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, and then let's just put the World Cup as one. I know there are multiple matches, but let's just say World Cup match.
You should pick the July 4th one, though.
Okay, the July 4th World Cup match.
Because that's going to be like the round of 16. That's going to be a really high-level match.
That's epic.
And it's on July 4th. So if you had to pick one, not just like June 25th.
That's epic.
I would pick that one.
Let's go with that then. So you can only attend one of these events. You can't go to the other 2. Which one are you guys picking and why?
All-Star. All-Star game. That's the one I chose to buy. Yeah, it's a one.
So you're not in on that over the World Cup round of 16. Like, that's a world event.
The World Cup's great, and I've been to World Cup matches before,
That
and
could be
they're
like France
amazing.
versus Brazil or something.
Oh, my
It's going to
gosh.
be like insane.
Mbappe doesn't get it going for you?
The Miss Brazil pageant is one of my favorite.
Oh.
Is a must-view
Don't think
thing
she'll
every
be
year.
there?
I get
can
no.
double check.
Amy, I think she might be. She might be. Just the crowd in general, maybe worth it.
So you're going All-Star game.
I'm going
that would
All-Star
be
game.
my third choice.
That's my third.
Wow.
That's my third, too.
Wow.
The
Home Run Derby's my number 1.
Oh, that's your one.
That's my one.
Ooh.
Well, you
Yeah.
also, are you thinking as a parent of young kids?
Yes, also, I'm a kid.
I know you
I
are.
love
We all
Fanatic.
are,
You are a kid
I
at
love
heart.
Fanatic more than my children. But yeah, as far as like the actual visuals of it, like that to me, just seeing the ball fly out of Citizens Bank Park with no recourse as far as it affecting my team would be fun. You're seeing some of the best home run hitters. And I think visually that's one of those ones that would be a lot of fun to be at and experience. The All-Star game, I think I would enjoy as much as watching it on television as I would after the Phillies guys are kind of done. The World Cup, the reason I was about, mention the July 4th one because, we're looking at tickets to go at different things. And I was like, I'm looking around and some of the ones are more cost-effective, the lower-end ones. And I was like, oh, what is the July 4th? I mean, it's ridiculous. There's no teams even in it.
It's like $700 a piece
For the
Or
July
worse.
4th one?
No, you're spending 4 figures.
Oh man, like minimum? Wow.
Minimum.
Okay.
Wait until the teams are announced
That'd
too,
be crazy.
because then you'll have it's such a high level of soccer, aka football, for our friends over in Europe, that it's going to be, and in South America, it'll be tremendous. So I thought about, I was like, gosh, that would be an incredible game to go just to really experience. I've been to a World Cup game before when I was in DC years and years and years ago, and I saw like Venezuela versus I don't even know who, and they had like the vuvuzelas and all. It was just. Everybody was out. It was such a huge, like, communal atmosphere. I thought, gosh, it was a really neat thing to be a part of. And then it's on July 4th in the birthplace of America. And I was like, wow, I'm not paying $5,000 for sitting in nosebleeds. But for me, to kind of go back to one of your original points, yeah, thinking about, like, what would Shawnee like to see? The home run derby is absolutely something. But I think visually that, to me, is also, like, something that I would prefer. So I'd go derby, July 4th, round of 16, World Cup game, and then the All-Star game.
Been to 2 home run derbies, been to 2 All-Star games. And the one thing I would just say about home run derby for those who have not been in attendance, it's hard to follow when you're there. Harder than you think to follow when you're there.
It depends on where you see.
They're blaring
For
a lot
me.
of music. It seems like you can't keep track of what's going on. They're blaring music. They're talking on the speaker. I think it's at times. I know the Phillies do things first class. It has been a very difficult, I thought. Like, it's fun. It's fun to see the balls flying out.
Yeah.
When it gets down to the final couple people,
yeah,
it's very easy to follow. It seems like there's a lot going on otherwise.
Yeah.
Huh.
The All-Star game itself, seeing Christopher Sanchez start an All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, and that's a big part of it.
Seeing Zach Wheeler, who we know will not pitch in an All-Star game maybe again in his career because of a lockout next year. That, to me, is memories that...
So yours would go
All-Star
game,
World Cup,
Home Run Derby.
Interesting. And I would
but then
go...
I'm easily distracted. You guys could maybe focus better. I can't. I couldn't focus. I was like...
Yeah, I went to the one that was in the Yankees, new Yankee Stadium at the time. I didn't feel that, but I was in the outfield.
Was that the Josh Hamilton year? Yeah, that was a special one. Like, and the other thing, Bryce Harper competing already, we know in the home run derby. Maybe Schwarber will find his way in there as well.
But your point is, like, it does, like, there's some of them you're like, where'd that ball go?
It
But
seems
for
like
me,
there's
for
a
the
lot
outfield,
going
I felt
on.
like I was able to track it
You
pretty
were able
well.
to see where it's going out. Like, people were like, did that go out?
Yeah, maybe if I
Did
was
that go
behind
out?
it, I think you probably couldn't tell. But in the outfield, I felt like I could see pretty well where
so
it went.
many people running around the outfield. There's so many people out in the field.
Because
in
I'm
the
not watching
outfield.
those people. I don't
you're
care.
watching the guy at the
But
dish.
I don't
moving.
care.
But they're
See, I think
moving
this
towards
is-
the wall. And
But I'm not looking at them.
Yeah, you're just watching
if it
the ball.
hits them, that's not a home run. So I'm not as interested in it.
By the way, have you heard anything about?
But I hear you.
Have you heard any rumors? Because you would be very well connected on this. Have you heard any rumors about the Phillies maybe not preferring the 2 guys be in the home run derby?
I've not heard any rumors to that. I think that there is an overarching theme when you look at the history of some of the top performing guys that they don't do the home run derby. They don't want to like wear their arm out type of vibe. A lot of times for that, those players are not position players. I think that has sometimes you see the guys.
Bryce wants to do it,
right?
Yeah.
But
Bryce has done it before. He won it.
Someone told me, someone who I sort of trust said the Phillies may not be keen on Bryce and Schwarber doing.
Right, maybe they just need one.
I'd like both, but I'm greedy.
I want both.
Bryce Harper wants to play in it. I would think he's going to want to go ahead and hit in the home run derby. It was such a cool moment.
I can only
remember
imagine
when he
how
did
he'll
it
be dressed
in
Washington
with his dad pitching. I thought that was like a really cool thing. I know people didn't like him at the time because he was a national, but I remember
What would
thinking that
America
was really-
want? America would want Schwarber, right?
I think America would want both.
Yes, they would.
No, but I mean, if they only could have one,
Yeah, it'd probably
America
be
would want Schwarber.
Yeah, but listen, we got to go back. Schwarber against Pujols a couple of years back came up small. I don't know if he threw it. People were worried about that. I don't know.
It's interesting. It's such a different thing. You really have to be.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's you have to make sure you have you and
Right
whoever's
pitcher.
Yeah, whoever's throwing you the balls, you have to have it exactly where you want it to be. Look at Alec Boehm. He had a tremendous home run derby.
It's unbelievable.
And we're thinking, what in the world?
Where's this been
why don't the pitchers just throw meatballs like that all the time?
And he had such a great first half.
But like you mentioned the Josh Hamilton one. Josh Hamilton won out of the gates, and then he didn't because of the way that the round robin is or whatever. He didn't end up winning it or getting to the. I think he got to the final, but I think they've kind of adjusted things since then. So it's not always the traditional home run hitters that do well. It's guys that are just consistently good. So it'll be interesting to see. But
it will be. For me, it's World Cup one. And
So
I'm
it
a
is
huge
World Cup
baseball
one.
guy, but my thing is
it's kind of a once in a lifetime type of vibe.
Exactly. I can see myself at some point in the future going to a home run derby or an all-star game. Like, I imagine it will be back at some point in the next, 20 years or so.
Or you could have an opportunity to go because it's one or a city you're living in or you're visiting.
Yeah.
Or you know people at.
The World Cup is something that, like, people around the globe, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
It was
And
here
for it to
94, so 94 to now, so you had to wait 32 years for it to come
Well,
back.
you already know the sites for the next, 3. So,
Right.
you know it's not coming back here for another.
For that to be, like, that level of a sporting event, like, it dwarfs the Super Bowl. And for that to be 10 minutes from my apartment and maybe not go to that, I feel like that would be a miss. So I would go World
And you
Cup
don't
1,
care who's in it.
Home Run Derby. No.
Like the match would not matter to you who's
The
participating.
round of 16?
No,
that
round
one
of
they're going to
16
be
wouldn't
really
matter
good.
at all.
But even for the qualifying games, like the group stage, I'm all
Until
in
you
on
can
it.
get in that Ivory Coast game.
I believe
Get
Sean
in there.
Rodman's going.
Sean Rodman's
Those
going.
are the tickets we
I
were
already
looking
picked-
at.
I already picked which one. I'm
That's
going
like
to the World Cup.
Yeah, that's the most affordable right now.
And
Ivory
he's
Coast,
going.
Curacao.
He's going to that
Yeah.
That's the one we might be going.
Get ready to spend some money.
Rodman
this
leads
summer.
you lead quite the life, Rodman.
That one you can get in for like 200.
I don't know about that.
He does, man. You lead quite the life.
I love it.
I've gotten pretty lucky,
So
I would
yours,
say.
yours would go World Cup.
Then Home Run Derby,
yeah.
then All-Star Game.
I just think for me, the All-Star game, though exciting, once the Phillies guys, because I hear you, like seeing Sanchez out there
Sure.
and then potentially handing the ball off to Zach Wheeler, I think is such a cool moment. But I just think
I could watch it on.
And I'm one of those people
once they
who
leave, I'm like, all right.
I believe they never should have taken away the home field in the.
I liked
in
that there
the
was like
World
something
Series.
on the line.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think it was great because I remember I was on my honeymoon, and I'm in the pool, and the guy came around at Sandals with the USA Today, and my wife, I said, "Get a newspaper, honey. Who won the All-Star game last night?" And my wife is, by the way, 2 seats away from the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Coach Schottenheimer, who got married too. They're right there at the same resort. And she looks at the USA Today and she goes, "It ended in a tie." I said, "Honey," she knows nothing about sports. I said, "Baseball games don't end in a tie. What was the score?"
No
and
clock.
she goes, "It ended in a tie."
She's like,
And
I'm
like
reading
this.
it.
And the Schottenheimer crew was over, their crew for their wedding was there. And he goes, "It ended in a tie." I was like, "No way."
I don't understand what's happening.
And then they changed the rule the
That was
next
it.
year. They changed the rule.
The times have certainly changed. It'll still be a great bevy of events here in Philadelphia over the course of the summer. And if you can make it to any of those, that would be an awesome thing. Speaking of baseball, we have our Twitter poll of the day that we got to check in on, which has to do with the Phillies series with the Dodgers that starts tonight. Sean, it's brought to us by Dr. Avidad Appel. And what is our question and numbers?
Our questions today are, after the Dodgers series, do you believe you will feel better or worse about the Phillies' chances this season? In first place, still at 49%, the same. In second place, feel worse at 26%, and people feeling better at 25%.
Okay, so a pretty even split there. I think that's a very rational Twitter poll reaction. I'm glad that's where the numbers are. 50-50 pretty much on better or worse. The other 50% pretty much on same. In the moment, you're going to react to the game. And we're going to talk about that here in the 9 o'clock hour of what our expectations are for that series. It's a big one. But if you're coming out of this series, 3 games in May, determining the Phillies' World Series hopes on it, whether it's the Dodgers or not, I think that's too far to take it. Now, Amy, we talked about this earlier before you were in. The San Diego series got a lot of people back in.
Yeah.
The Sanchez stuff, the sweep. I mean, the offense wasn't great, but we'll take the 3 wins any way we can get them.
Got those starting pitchers. You're like, all right, we'll be fine.
Absolutely. You don't have that starting pitching.
And you saw something good from Aaron Nola. I think that's something that you don't want to gloss
if you
that
stayed
over.
up till 9:40
And why
p.m.
wouldn't
for it.
you stay up with me?
Of course.
Why not? I plan on
Ricky,
it.
we
I
were
plan
there.
on it. No,
Yeah.
I plan on
Okay.
it. Yeah, I plan on it.
100%.
Weekend, come on,
There you go.
folks.
Got to stay up for the Phillies pregame and post. And it was something that built momentum for the Phils.
Mhm.
Do you think they can lose that momentum with what happens against the Dodgers, or do you think people are going to be back in for the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can lose all of it because you're looking at, like, if you get swept by the Dodgers, you'd be like, oh, gosh, which I don't think they're going to do. I'm just going to say that right now. They play the Dodgers usually very well. They play well out there in L.A. Traditionally, they've done very well. But if that were to happen, I think you could convince yourself, like, listen, it's the Dodgers. The next time you would see them would be, the NLCS. So we're all good there. They're the best team in baseball on paper. They have one of the best records in baseball. They have the highest payroll in baseball. They have a once-in-a-lifetime, maybe one of the guys that's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. Like, what you're seeing with Shohei Ohtani is bizarre world. He's pitching, unbelievably well, and he's hitting home runs. So I don't know that you would lose all of it, but I think it would dampen the shine. It would temper your feelings somewhat if you got smoked out there. Like if you're losing 13-2, and what would they put up like a 15 or 16 spot on someone recently?
Yes.
It was like the Rockies, so whatever.
I like the pitching matchups.
Yeah.
I sort of like their chances
we
to
had
win this series.
One more of them.
Yeah, Sanchez throwing in this series would be nice.
I like Sanchez.
Look, we
and
just
that's
had
another
him.
thing that you could be like, oh well, we didn't even have Chris Sanchez. So if you only lose one, then you're thinking that's a real win. But if you lose two, you think, well, we didn't even have Chris Sanchez.
There you go.
Yeah,
I think there's ways you could talk yourself out of like being too much, kind of put out by it. But I think that it would dampen the shine a little bit if you got smoked.
Some people will talk themselves out of being overreactionary. Some people will talk themselves into it, as we do in Philadelphia sports all the time. So we'll see what the reaction to that series is. Jeff Kerr joins us coming up next segment, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into what the Phillies have done on this road trip. But what do we have on the text line on our big conversations of the day, Sean?
Yeah, one person checking in and saying it 3 times, so I think they definitely mean this. I like the Eagles to realize they would be better with A.J. Brown than without him.
Your number one wish this summer for something you want to see happen in Philadelphia sports. They want to see the Eagles realize they're better with A.J. Brown than without him. I think they realize that.
I mean, the offense, again, I think I said that earlier, or I said something about it. Like, I need people to acknowledge, including in-house players and whatever, that it's a huge loss to lose a guy that is as productive as he is.
It is.
It's a huge loss. Offensively, it is a huge loss. You have to acknowledge that. You can't be like, well, no, we've got this guy that's stop it. You have a guy that's consistently a 1,000-yard receiver, something that we do not have here in Philadelphia ever. 4 years, 4,000 yards, like that just doesn't happen. So you need to acknowledge that. Now, if you're pointing to the fact that you think it's too much in the locker room, there's people that say the opposite. There's people that say that it's not that bad. Now, if you're pointing to the relationship between him and A.J. Brown and the head coach, or A.J. Brown and the quarterback, now that's where you can see maybe not better off, because that's obviously a relationship that has been fractured.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. You can just listen to the answers that Jalen Hurts gave to know that he texted him, I guess, a congratulations on his wedding. The man is the godfather of his child. We've all been in relationships, friendships that have gone sour, and you broke it off contact. You usually don't have to work with that person every single day. So I think that's something that you have to acknowledge as well. Like, yes, you're not better off on the field, but maybe you're better off in certain aspects.
I've seen people kind of treat this, some fans, like you're trading Britton Covey, and it's just whatever. We don't care. Like,
the offense will still operate the same.
That is not the circumstances that we're under right now. But we all believe the trade's coming, and it could be as soon as Monday, June 1st. So if you believe the Eagles are going to keep A.J. Brown, that dream may die quickly when it comes to what you want to see this summer. Well, you've seen what you've wanted to from the Phillies the last 3 games. Jeff Kerr joins us coming up next, and he will talk to us a little bit about the underlying numbers. I'm also going to ask him, is this the best version of Christopher Sanchez, or is there even more on top of what we're already seeing? We'll talk some fightings with him coming up next as Kincade Salciunas continues here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
A cap could be coming. I'm Sean Rodman, and the MLB owners submitted its first proposal to the Players Association with a salary cap and salary floor in their proposal. 6 teams this season, according to their salaries, are above the proposed cap, including the Phillies by $36 million. The Athletics' Jason Stark joined Unfiltered yesterday on why the MLB wants a new cap system.
They say this is about competitive balance. Should we look at who's in first place right now? The Rays, big spenders. Guardians, they're big spenders. The Brewers, they're often confused with the Dodgers. Does that seem like a competitive balance problem?
A little sarcasm there from Jason Stark. And, the Phillies, they're back in action today after the day off. Phillies take on the Dodgers tonight in L.A. Zach Wheeler gets a start for the Phils. First pitch will be at 10:15, and tonight's game will be on Apple TV. The Eagles are back on the practice field today for OTAs. We'll keep you updated on any news from South Philly. The NBA Board of Governors passed anti-tanking rules. The lottery will change from 14 to 16 teams, and the bottom 3 teams will be punished with lower lottery odds. And Jeff Kerr will be joining us next to cover the Phillies. I'm Sean Rodman on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Now more of Kincade and Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
The final hour of Kincade and Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
All right, we're going to get into some Phillies talk because they were red hot to start their West Coast swing out there in San Diego. 3-game sweep of the Padres and a little bit of history, a lot of bit of history with Christopher Sanchez's scoreless inning streak. So joining us now on Kincade and Salciunas, Jeff Kerr does great work covering the Eagles and the Phillies, talking baseball with him. And Jeff, on the Christopher Sanchez historic scoreless inning streak, are we seeing the best version of Sanchez, or do you believe he has more to grow even on top of what we've seen recently?
Hey, Connor. So it's funny you mentioned that because I actually asked Christopher Sanchez about this very topic last Friday during the midst of this streak. I'm like, is there any way you could be even better than this? And, he kind of gave me his answer, and Diego Danilo translated it. But he also kind of gave me a little wink there that, yeah, he could. But he said, look, it's the 4 days he uses in preparation between these starts is where he really feels he tries to improve, or going through that routine, going through his preparations. And that's one thing I always liked about Sanchez is he's such a student of the game. He's, he tries to master his craft. Like, he only has 3 pitches, but what 3 pitches are coming, and he just tries to perfect them and get better at them. And I just love how Christopher prepares between each start. And I think this is why, look, I don't think this is going to be a 2 or 3 year run for him. I think he's going to keep going just because of his build and because of how hard he works in the offseason.
What do you see is the ceiling, though, for a guy like Jesus Luzardo that you're watching? Because they've committed to him, but he has not shown the same level of being able to hold a consistency. And it's good to talk to you, Jeff.
Hey, yes, you too, John. So here's the thing with Luzardo to me. You're just waiting for that blow-up inning. And I think Luzardo he's like Sanchez. He's a passionate guy, but I think Sanchez knows how to control his emotions. Like, nothing seems to faze Christopher Sanchez. And I think why the Phillies paid Jesus Luzardo because they saw that potential fulfilled in Game 2 of the NLDS last year when he completely just shut down the Dodgers for 5+ innings. I got into some trouble there later on in the game. But Luzardo has, I think, more stuff than Sanchez does, if that makes sense. But Sanchez just is the perfect package. I think they're thinking that Luzardo and Sanchez together are going to build off each other, and it's going to be a 1-2 force for years to come after Zach Wheeler is, retired. And, hopefully that's not anytime soon. But I think that's why they paid Luzardo. I think they're paying him based on the potential more than give Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies, Sam Fold and the Phillies front office a ton of credit when they signed Christopher Sanchez as quickly as they did. They saw what Sanchez could be. I think that's what they're banking on with Luzardo as well.
Well, hi, Jeff. There was some really good things, obviously, to take away from that Padres series. The sweep, the starting pitching. I think some of the back end of that bullpen, everybody looked good. But to me, one of the things that I mentioned this to Connor earlier, I thought seeing Aaron Nola look good was a huge thing. You have to have the starting pitching outside of him is nothing short of phenomenal right now. They're all the last 5 starts for all the guys. They had less earned runs total than what you saw in one start the previous time from Aaron Nola. So you had to have him look pretty good. And for the consistency of the 6 innings, I thought his location looked better. He had the 1 home run, but you kind of that's just, we all know that. You just don't want to have it damage you too much. What did you see from him? And can that be something he's going to be able to replicate going forward? Because that's the key, right? You have to have him be that guy, not just a one-off every 5th start. You need him to be that guy every start.
Yeah, I agree with you, Amy. And look, it's simple, right? Aaron Nola has to figure it out. That there's no option in the minor leagues right now. It's Aaron Nola and his contract. And we know he can pitch. He's done this for a decade now. He was a very good pitcher for this team, top 5 in Cy Young for multiple years. It's not like this guy doesn't know how to pitch. Is his arm tired from a lot of innings? Yeah, probably. But he kind of has to reinvent himself as a pitcher, just like Zach Wheeler did when he was coming back from TOS. And I noticed he was throwing his knuckle curve a lot more. I noticed he was throwing a lot of his all-speed stuff a lot more because he can locate that. The fastball's not there. Okay. He has an arsenal of pitches, and if he has to throw the knuckle curve more, if he has to throw a changeup more and a slider more, or a sweeper as they call it these days, to actually get outs, then that's what he has to do. I mean, look, I thought Noah was great on when did he pitch? Tuesday night. I'm losing track of my days already.
Starts to let it.
But look, if they can get that performance out of Noah, and I know he likes pitching in Petco Park, but if they can get that out of Noah the rest of the season, or at least a consistent form of that, they're going to be very dangerous to beat. I mean, they're basically first in every major pitching category for starters since May 10th. And to me, that's why they're winning games.
We're talking to Jeff Kerr here on Kincade Salciunas. Does a great job covering the Phillies. And let's go from the pitching to the offense. How far away is this offense from being World Series contender caliber, and what do you think could close that gap?
Well, they definitely need a right-handed bat somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be a power bat. Well, they do need a power bat, but I don't know if it's going to be like a big-time bat, like say a Taylor Ward or someone like that, or Mike Trout. I don't see that happening. But look, Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies brass were in Reading last night to watch Gage Wood, to watch Alex McFarland, to watch Dante Nori. A lot of these prospects they have here, Arun Escobar. They are monitoring the situation. All the trade chips are in Reading if they decide to use them. And maybe Gage Wood is going to be used for a potential right-handed bat. Maybe he's going to be a part of this team at some point later this summer. But look, they definitely need a right-handed bat. They need a bat off the bench. It could be Gabriel Rincones, who right now just completed his rehab assignment. He's in AAA. Maybe he's a platoon option with Adolis Garcia, but they got to give these young bats time to develop. And even the ones that are ready to play in the major leagues, like we saw Otto Kemp go up and down. Mm-hmm. He's on the roster, but he doesn't play, and I don't understand it. They did the same with Felix Reyes. Now he's back down Lehigh Valley, and he's doing what he did before he came up. These guys can help if you give them a chance. Amundo Sosa, I love Amundo Sosa. I love the energy he brings to this team, but he's also in his 30s and he's going to be a free agent. Do you really want to play this guy 3-4 times a week when he's struggling too? They need the right-handed hitters to actually hit, and they need another right-handed bat to go in there with
right-handed power bat.
That's what Amy's been wishing for. Hey, Jeff, tell me about the difference you feel when you're around the team since the managerial change. Is there anything tangible, or do you just think that this team's just finally paying to its potential?
I think it's both, John. I really do. So just talking with the players, I noticed there's certain things they're doing. They change some things up, right? It's things we are not seeing unless you're at the ballpark at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's, for example, the bullpen, they're out pitching in the bullpen a little bit earlier than they normally do. I don't think that's a coincidence or anything like that. I just think that's how they want to run something. They're doing more PFPs. They were doing it in Reading yesterday in front of Dave Dombrowski. So obviously it's catching on throughout the system there with the whole PFP thing. But they're doing that. I think guys are hanging the cage more. I think they're Don Mattingly spending a little more time with some of these guys in the field. And he's right. You just got to play better baseball. I think the defense has improved a bit. I think Mattingly, though, is not worried about tomorrow like Rob Thompson did. Rob Thompson played the long game. I think Don Mattingly's like, I don't care if I have to use Johan Duran 4 or 5 days in May. I got to win games. And, this is what happens when you start 9-19. You got to get back to 500. You got to get over it. So, there's going to be a little more sense of urgency. And I think this clubhouse has felt that. I think they know that they were better than the 9-19 team that they showed. But, over this past month, I have noticed some changes. But, I mean, some things have stayed the same. The players still have to go out there and perform. But this team is obviously a better team than the team we saw in April.
Yeah, I mean, the 9-19 is always going to be glaring. And I talked to Brandon Marsh last week and sat him down, and he was like, when I said that number, he just kind of looked at me. I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. They knew how bad it was, but I think
you trying to make them feel bad, Amy?
But I was just like, starting the 9-19, when you're in it, you don't realize exactly. He's like 9-19. I was like, yeah, oh yeah, sorry. Well, But hey, look what you're doing now type of let's shift this back. But I feel like that they knew it wasn't going well. There's no one that they didn't want anybody to lose their job, but they do feel a certain responsibility, I think, Jeff. So when you're saying that, I feel like that the air is different in the regards of like, okay, well, we can't stop. We need to start focusing. Like, not that they weren't focusing, but you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a certain amount of like, let's get our stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. And look, right, the day Rob got fired, I was talking to a couple players, and a lot of them chalked it up to, look, the Braves were red hot, the Cubs were white hot, and we ran into them and we played them 2 weeks in a row. Let's get some new meat here. It's almost like the whole Rocky scene. He's all wrong for us, baby. Let's go get some new meat to Apollo Creed, and Apollo Creed wanted Rocky. So to me, I just think they need to just play somebody else, and they kind of took it out on that easy portion of the schedule, but. They played now 4 straight series against teams 500 or better, and they're 8-4 coming out of it with 2 sweeps, both on the road. So it's clear that they can handle themselves against the really good teams. I think the NL East is out of reach, but look, we're not even in June yet, so crazier things have happened.
Yes, it has. Way, way long of a way to go, but we appreciate you taking the time to join us, Jeff, and we'll be talking to you down the road.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Jeff Kerr, joining us on Kincade and Salciunas.
Wednesday's tickets, by the way, get your tickets for Wednesday's Christopher Sanchez start against the Padres.
More history potentially on the line, climbing up that scoreless inning streak. I mean, it's the same conversation with Jeff as we've been having. Like, the Phillies need a right-handed bat to even out this offense. The pitching is incredible. How far will it carry them? Guess what? We'll find out in October. And that's the same story we've had for years now. But after the way the season started, it's not bad to be back to the same old, same old. Coming up next, we have Ask Me Amy Things, so make sure you're getting into questions for that on the phone line and text line. 610-632-0975 is how you can join in. Whatever is on your mind, I have a question for Amy Fadul that I think people will be interested in as well as we do that, and we will take one more preview of Phil's Dodgers this weekend. It's Kincade and Salciunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic.
All right, we have got a busy weekend in the Philadelphia sports scene to get you ready for it. As Kincade Salciunas, Andrew Salciunas off today and Monday. He'll be back in on Tuesday. Of course, the A.J. Brown news looming large for the Eagles, with Monday being June 1st. And also a big series between the Phillies and the Dodgers. So we've been breaking it down for you.
What a weekend.
And Amy Fadul's been in studio with us since 8 o'clock, helping us break it all down. Now, before we get to Ask Me Amy thing, where we get a little off the rails with some fun questions, which we always love to do on Fridays with Fadul. Dodgers series, are you guys feeling a win?
Yes.
2 out of 3.
Yes.
2 out of 3.
Yes.
I'm like Meatloaf. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You get to.
I did not know where you were going
You
with
go to
that.
Chavez Ravine, one of my favorite songs of all time. Chavez Ravine, that is going to be awesome. That is going to be, they're going to win 2 out of 3. They'll be 5-1 going into my last part of that, and they're going to make my 6-3 a reality at least. Not like 7-2 then.
Yeah, because Sanchez throws against the Padres, so you're going to win one of those games at least. Yeah, I mean, that would be
good about it.
I do too, which is weird.
I love the
They play-
pitching. I like the pitching matchups.
They play well out there. Traditionally, they play very well out there.
Why?
I don't
Do you
know.
have any theory?
I mean, it's
like
it's not just this.
Petco.
It's just literally it's any Phillies team. They just have done well.
It's weird though. Like it's weird because it doesn't really truly make sense. That there's a place that you play well.
A lot of stuff in
Especially with
baseball.
those teams.
Right.
Baseball is one of those. There's so many numbers, but at the same time, it's also this nebulous feeling with so many parts of the game. Like, why does anything happen? Why does a guy like Trey Turner win the National League batting title one year and can't figure out how to hit a baseball the next? Like, it's just such a weird game. That's why superstition is such a huge part of it. The Phillies will never, in my lifetime, win another series in San Francisco against the Giants. Like, it'll just never happen.
That's a tough place.
And the Giants are never the better
Eagles
team.
playoff games in Tampa.
Yeah, it's just there are certain places where certain things don't happen, and lucky for the
but
Phillies.
I think that I do like the pitching matchup. The only concern would be just the lack of offense right now. You think that couldn't come back to bite them on a very against a very good team. Against a very good team. And the Padres are a good team too. Don't get me wrong. They have a lot of guys that are underperforming. They have guys below the Mendoza line that have huge contracts. So, but you do think that it could come up and get you.
I saw MLB Network, by the way. Our buddy Greg Caserta the other night. They were doing a thing. They're going to have to readjust the Mendoza line.
No, it's named after a human. What are you going to change the name?
The amount of players though that are below the Mendoza
hit
line
better.
in baseball.
Juice those balls up, baby.
There used to be a time. There used to be a time when nobody would ever be below the Mendoza line.
You got a lot of them.
It's
kind of big names right now under that.
Horrible.
The standard has changed. There's a deeper
The
conversation.
standard is the standard, Connor.
Yeah, that's true. Jalen would have you hear that. There's a deeper
I'm
conversation
going to ring
too.
Ricky's bell to that. His cowbell.
Standard is a standard.
Whoever gave
Whoever Ricky a cowbell, Connor? You asked that this morning.
I'm the anti-Will Ferrell, less cowbell. It's time now for Ask Me Amy thing.
Now it's time for
What else you need to know?
Ask Me Anything.
Would you like to know more?
No. Ask me anything.
So I have a question to lead us off here. I'm
I
going
have one
to take
too
ownership
for it,
of it.
too.
Oh, you do?
I'll hold mine though.
Okay. We've been talking a lot of golf in between the breaks because Johnny's playing today. I'm playing tomorrow. You love golf. We all try and get out as much as we can. And people have their favorite courses. What is your favorite Philadelphia area golf hole? A singular hole on a course that is just like, I love this one.
I love the hole. We were actually just talking about this. I do like this hole, even though I think it's a little bit crazy because I don't always play it well, but I've played it pretty well. 17 on Riverwinds.
Okay. And that's the ones with the
water.
island green.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
What do
Cal
you
with
hit
one.
into it, and what is the distance?
Well, for me, because I do play the forward tees, the red tees, it's usually between like 89 and 98. I feel like that's in that range, so that's a strong 9 for me.
I was going to ask Amy a golf question, so I'm going to ask it.
Yeah,
It's
you know
strange
what?
enough that I was
Let's
gonna
just
ask
double up.
There was a
Strong
big thing on social media that got a lot of traction. I reposted it and then answered it myself. Is a golf take that I stand by. People need to play from the right tees. And you almost apologized there saying, "Oh, I play from the."
No,
I play
he
you
asked
play
for
from the
the-
prop. People should play from the
First of all,
proper tees.
I will always play as forward as I can get.
Yeah, I would if I could.
But I wanted to make sure when I said it was 89, people were like, where are you playing from? I play from the forward tees.
I say nobody above a 12 handicap should ever play from the back tees, the tips.
I play from the tip sometimes, and I play off of like an 18. Like,
You-
I don't know.
I don't
I hit the ball
believe it.
far enough.
I don't
My problem
believe it.
is putting.
Yeah. Now there's some. If you have the length, you should be able. But it wouldn't matter if in your case, then it wouldn't matter if you're playing from the whites.
No, I wouldn't. Listen,
So
I'm the
you just
want to
hit the bomb. You think,
There
look
you
at
go.
me, I'm playing from the tip.
Tees are supposed to be indicated though by a handicap.
there was like a ad campaign a number of years ago with like Arnold Palmer and I can't remember Gary Player or somebody was just like, play the tees that fit you.
What's your handicap?
If you're the
Have
group in front of
fun.
me,
Right.
Yeah, play the tees that fit you.
What's
If
your
you're behind me,
handicap
I
that
don't
fits
care.
you? Yes.
What do we have on the text line for Amy today, Sean?
All right. First up, we have someone checking in saying, if you could keep only one of Grimes or Oubre, who would it be?
Oubre.
Not even close.
Not even
Just
close.
That wasn't even a hesitation. Yeah.
I love Grimes' defense, but Oubre had the best 3-point shooting of his career, was something he really worked on in the offseason. I thought that he was a definite viable 3-point threat. He can be that microwave scorer that you need to come off the bench if you need him in that role, and he's a very, very good defender. It's Kelly Oubre.
Does age change anything about that for you? So
What, because Quentin Grimes is younger and he still can't hit a three? Cool.
Is he going to learn?
So I get more of that.
Well,
I don't want more of it.
Yeah.
I want less of it.
Well, Maxi's gotten to be a better shooter who's gotten older, right?
Well, he
Quentin
had
Grimes
this
is not.
opportunity.
I know,
Max
yeah,
is
it's the
always
truth,
a good
too.
shooter.
Yeah, after
He
you don't
just
know
got to
basketball,
play.
decided he was actually a viable
Play
NBA
basketball.
player.
There you go.
All right, that's Ask Me Amy thing here on a Friday. A couple of golf questions and a check in there on the Sixers.
Where are you? You're playing
North Hills today?
Hills. And where are you playing?
I'm playing Middletown tomorrow.
You guys are gonna be jealous. Next week, I get to play Philadelphia Country Club.
Ooh,
Oh, you just
I know.
uppity.
So I should ask. I'm playing with a friend. I am not a member there.
that's
nice.
awesome.
But you asked me like my favorite hole, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's not going to be such an Marion." I'm like, I'm talking about holes that I've played,
Yeah.
golf
Correct.
holes that I have
Wait
actually been a part of.
You have not played Marion yet?
I have, but I mean
You
that I
have.
could play routinely. I could name like what all
Yeah,
of the
you
all of
don't
the
know
golf holes at Marion are great. All of the
have
golf holes at
not-
Aronimink that I've
I
played
have
are
not
amazing.
played Marion.
You know what? I should have been that. I love 18 at the course that I do play every single year. I love 18 at the Wissahickon course at the Cricket Club. I play it for my golf event every year. 18 is my favorite hole
That is fantastic.
that I get to play routinely. But yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, you've never played Aronimink?"
Yeah, I feel
I
you.
have. I don't remember the exact hole, but it was great.
We're not getting all these perks that people
Aronimink,
think we are sometimes.
did such a great job for the PGA
Oh,
too.
well
by the
done.
way.
I love that. I should have worn my PGA gear. I didn't realize it was PGA Gear
we're all
Day.
PGA'd
PGA
up
Gear
today. I don't
Day.
know.
I have a.
Yeah, I wore mine, and
Paoli
boy, I had a
Wildcats.
great time.
Listen,
what a wonderful time. they
It
did.
rained for about 30 straight days. It's nice to just have weather where you could actually get out
Yes.
on the course. It'll be nice to see the weather in LA when the Phillies take on the Dodgers. 10-10 Apple TV game tonight.
Apple
so
TV.
national.
And you can get the local broadcast, by the way, in the hitting the little box.
Correct.
Yeah, they have the options for that as well. You're going to have
I
some
believe
great
Scott
baseball.
Fransky does a very good job.
He sure does.
And Monday,
Monday is
AJ
AJ Day.
Day.
AJ Day.
It's AJ Day.
AJ
We may wake up
Day.
Amy too, just because she's going to be awake
I'll
on
be
her
awake.
drive to
Yeah.
work. We may call
Gotta
her.
have to be. Like
There you go.
everyone in this city better be up early and ready to go on
'Cause
Monday.
Adam Schefter, 6:40 a.m. So the latest from the number one insider in the NFL, he joins us at 6:40 a.m. just for the latest. You're going to hear it only here first.
So enjoy the weekend. Maybe something
guys
not
too.
stressful because
You guys too.
next week is going to be a little bit
It's going to
stressful.
be fun.
Amy,
It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun.
we always appreciate you joining
you,
us.
guys.
We'll
Have a
talk
good
to you again
weekend.
next week. Johnny, thank
See you,
you
buddy.
as
Take
well.
care,
and
man.
Sean, great job on the
See you,
board.
Sean.
Coming up next, Middays with Marks. It will be John and I. Andrew out again on Monday.
Thanks,
and we will
Austin.
talk